This is the Louie Tee Network.
Louie Tee Live. Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie Tee? Welcome to Louie Tee Live. Week 8 edition, or are we in week 9? I think we're going to week 9 now. Time is flying. We already halfway through the NFL season. And I tell you what, still a lot of questions to be answered. Man, I'll tell you what, you look at both conferences. In one conference, nothing seems to be sold or etched in stone. You look at the other conference and you're like, I think we already know who the 6 playoff teams are. It's crazy right now. Really crazy. We're going to find out a lot of things going down the stretch, but tonight, it's going to be a lot of different things that we break down, as we always do here. Going to start off with a little bit of the rookie wall, break that down, jump into some looky, take a look around the league and see what happened in week 8 in the National Football League. Jump into the college corner. The first playoff projections have come out. So we're going to talk about the top 25 in the playoff discussion. And really, we only need to talk about the top 10. That's all that matters, because a team that's sitting at 18 in the playoff discussion is going to make it all the way into the Final Four. So it's interesting. Washington not at number 4. They've been leapfrogged by a one-loss SEC team. That's a little dicey. We'll talk about that when we get there. And then, of course, Louie Tee versus the world. Another tough week for the good guy, man. But we're going to talk about that. I told you I didn't think that was going to be a good week. I told you I was going to struggle last week, and I did. Stay true to form. But this week, going to be a much bigger, brighter, and better week for your man, Louie Tee. We'll see how all of you did and who was able to get their name on the wall of fame. And if anybody could unseat the man known as Cubone football from that big throne in the sky. We'll check when we get down to that portion of the show a little bit later on. But as always, if this is your first time here, welcome to the Louie Tee Network and Louie Tee Live. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. Want you to help me do that by hitting that subscription button and becoming a member of the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. A number of different ways you can contact me. One of them is through Twitter. Also, another way that you can contact me is Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead and like that page. I'm telling you, at some point this year, I'm going to figure out Facebook Live, and I'm going to start doing some really great things on Facebook Live, and that's coming down the pipeline. Give me a little time. It's going to happen. So I want you guys to go ahead and get ahead of that curve. Give me that thumbs up on Facebook. And then also there's Twitter. Like I said earlier, in the Lab Room, you can leave me the hashtag Louie Tee Live during this show and future shows to have your comment read on this very program. So there's also Twitter as well. Turn on those notifications. Then you'll know when I'm doing a video, whether you turn on your notifications on YouTube or you turn on your notifications on Twitter. Those are your best ways to know exactly when I'm going live. I've got a set schedule. You know what it is. But just in case you forget or you're busy and you lose track of time, those notifications will be your lifesaver. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter @InTheLabRoom. So I've set the table for tonight's program. As we always do, we're going to jump into a little bit of the rookie wall, week number 8 edition. Talk about what rookies were able to rise, what rookies were on the wall that fell in 2000 or in week number 8 in the 2016 season. So I will jump into the rookie wall to start, and then I'll come back and join you guys on the other side. See you then. Enjoy the week 8 rookie wall. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? You already know what this is. The week 8 edition of the rookie wall. Some rookies will climb, others will fall. It's the Louie Tee Network rookie wall. Let's jump right into the proceedings this evening by taking a look back first at Week 7's rookie wall. Coming in at number 7, San Diego Chargers linebacker Jatavis Brown. Coming in at number 6, Jacksonville Jaguars rookie Yannick Ngakoue. Coming in at number 5, New Orleans Saints rookie wide receiver Michael Thomas. Coming in at number 4, San Diego Chargers defensive end / outside linebacker Joey Bosa. Coming in at number 3, Philadelphia Eagles rookie quarterback Carson Wentz. Coming in at number 2, Dallas Cowboys rookie quarterback Dak Prescott. And coming in at the number 1 spot a week ago, Dallas Cowboys rookie Ezekiel Elliott. So let's get into the week 8 edition of the Rookie Wall. And we start with the guy that blessed this same exact spot a week ago. San Diego Superchargers rookie inside linebacker Jatavis Brown. Still leading all rookies in tackles with 54. Still 4th in sacks, or now he's 4th after Leonard Floyd overtook him for 3rd place in sacks with 3 on the season. Still tied for 2nd with forced fumbles with 2 on the season, and recovered his first fumble of his career last week versus the Denver Broncos in a wacky and crazy game out in Denver. So Jatavis Brown still producing at a very high level for the San Diego Chargers in relief of injured linebacker Manti Te'o. He checks in at number 7 for the 2nd consecutive week. You go to number 6, and this is a guy that has been on the rookie wall before, made a brief appearance, then disappeared. Now he's back like cooked crack. I'm talking about Chicago Bears, rookie running back Jordan Howard. Monster performance on Monday Night Football to help his Bears upset the Minnesota Vikings. 26 carries, 153 yards, almost had 100 yards at halftime, and a touchdown. Keep in mind, also chipped in with over 50 yards receiving in this game as well. He's 2nd in just about every statistical category as a rookie runner behind, of course, Ezekiel Elliott. This guy has been outstanding for the Bears, a revelation. And because of his good play, he's put a running back like Jeremy Langford on the bench. This is their new starting running back, folks. And if he continues to play the way that he has, he'll make Bears fans forget all about Matt Forte. You move on to number 5, Joey Bosa. San Diego Chargers outside linebacker / defensive end. Tied for sacks with 4 for the lead among rookies. Stout in the run game. Continues to be a guy that is developing. Keep in mind, this is a guy that missed all of training camp, missed the first 4 games of the season, and has only played in 4 games in his NFL career. So this is a guy that is coming along at a much more rapid pace and rate than we expected. There were GMs out there that said, oh, Joey Bosa is going to have a wasted rookie season because of all the time he's missed, and he's just come in and flat out torn it up. And so this is a guy that remains on the rookie wall. Down a spot from last week, was in at number 4 last week, up to number 5 this week, or down to number 5, I should say. So Bosa still playing at a high level for a guy that has missed as much time as he has to start his NFL career. You move on to number 4, and this is a guy that just continues to amaze me. Of all the rookie wide receivers that we talked about coming into this draft, he wasn't a guy that rolled off your tongue necessarily first, but he is absolutely the best rookie wide receiver this season by far. I'm talking about New Orleans Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas. Led the Saints once again for the 2nd consecutive game in receiving yards. 6 catches, 63 yards. Helped the Saints get an improbable win at home in come from behind fashion versus the Seattle Seahawks. And he has just run away from every other rookie wide receiver in every statistical category except for touchdowns, where he's behind Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs by just 1 touchdown on the season. Michael Thomas, 500 receiving yards. No other receiver has 400. Michael Thomas with 42 catches on the season. No other receiver has more than 31 as a rookie. He's just miles and away the best rookie wide receiver in this class, and I don't think many people saw that coming when he came out of the Ohio State University. Coming in at number 3, Carson Wentz, Philadelphia Eagles rookie quarterback. solid performance versus the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. I'm not encouraged by what I see in terms of them throwing the ball short a lot with him and not allowing him to drive the football down the field. There's some questions there as to what the game planning is with Wentz, but make no mistake about it, he's still been very effective as the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. 92.5 QB rating, behind Dak Prescott in just about every statistical category except completion percentage. He overtook Prescott in that category, with Prescott's really poor completion percentage this past weekend, but Prescott still got the win at 65.8. Prescott now at 65.2. So this is a guy that can get it done, and we've seen a lot of good things from Wentz, and he played well enough for his team to win on Sunday, but they weren't able to hold on to a lead late, allowing the Cowboys to take the game to overtime and win. Wentz coming in at number 3 on the rookie wall. You go to number 2 on the rookie wall, and it's the same order that it was last week. Cowboys rookie quarterback Dak Prescott checking in at number 2 on the rookie wall. Here's a guy that just continues to amaze us at the quarterback position. Did not play one of his better games on Sunday. 19 of 39. You're talking about less than 50% completion percentage there, or just slightly over, I should say. Not one of his best performances, but he was able to get the most important thing there, and that's the win. And so he continues to be the stabilizing force at the quarterback position for this Dallas Cowboys team. Now 6-1 on the season are the Cowboys. All of those wins have been led by Dak Prescott. He's still the best rookie quarterback this season, and he checks in at number 2 on the rookie wall. Now you get to the number 1 spot, but before we do, let's recap what we've done in week 8 on the rookie wall. Starting at number 7, San Diego Superchargers rookie inside linebacker Jatavis Brown. Checking in at number 6, the Bears rookie running back Jordan Howard. Number 5, San Diego Superchargers outside linebacker / defensive end Joey Bosa. Checking in at number 4, New Orleans Saints rookie wide receiver Michael Thomas. Checking in at number 3, as he's done for the last 3 weeks, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. Checking in at number 2, Cowboys rookie quarterback Dak Prescott. And holding down the number 1 spot for the 3rd consecutive week, none other than Double E, Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas Cowboys rookie running back. Still the NFL's leading rusher, although he has company now. DeMarco Murray slowly but surely closing that gap. Murray hasn't, however, had his bye week yet. Elliott has, so expect that lead to be widened at some point. Streak of 100-yard games was snapped on Sunday in the overtime win over the Philadelphia Eagles. However, he still averages over 100 yards a game, 114.1 to be exact. The only NFL rusher, not just rookie, the only NFL rusher to be currently averaging over 100 yards per game. So Elliott definitely still among the league's best, not just as a rookie, but the league's best running backs in the league. So that's your rookie wall for week number 8. Let's talk about some honorable mentions before we get out of here. Tyreek Hill is a guy that was so close to making the rookie wall this week, scored another receiving touchdown. He is becoming a much bigger part of that Kansas City Chiefs offensive passing attack. Made some huge plays in that game, one going for a touchdown, his 4th receiving touchdown of the season. He now leads all rookie wide receivers with 4 touchdowns on the season. He's going to make the rookie wall this season if he's able to stay healthy. Mark my words. Yannick Ngakoue, Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end, for the first time, did not bless the rookie wall this season. Has not produced in the last 3 weeks. So he's hit a little bit of a lull, a little bit of a wall, if you will. But I expect him to make some more noise before it's all said and done. Yannick Ngakoue, an honorable mention member for the first time this season. Devontae Booker, solid in his first NFL start in relief of running back C.J. Anderson in a win over the San Diego Chargers in week number 8. Looking for big things from Devontae Booker. Did have a costly fumble in that game trying to stretch the football over the goal line. So, again, got to make sure you protect the rock. Devontae Booker, honorable mention. Carl Joseph, Oakland Raiders safety, rookie out of West Virginia. He's just around the field like a heat-seeking missile, much like he was at West Virginia, hitting guys across the middle, intimidating receivers. Did pick up a personal foul, defenseless receiver penalty. Could have picked up another one, but this guy is around the football, dislodging it, hitting guys. Really like the way he plays the game with a sort of a reckless abandon, but it's a controlled chaos for Carl Joseph as he continues to help this Raiders team stockpile wins. The Raiders are now 6-2 after their overtime victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Keanu Neal, another heat-seeking missile at the safety position, this time for the Atlanta Falcons as a rookie. Forced another fumble versus the Green Bay Packers in their win over the Packers. And Keanu Neal now second in tackles among rookies, overtaking his teammate Deion Jones. So Keanu Neal starting to assume that role as the enforcer on that Atlanta Falcons defense. He also receiving a little bit of honorable mention love yet again. Leonard Floyd, guy that we talked about last week as an honorable mention member, had 2.5 sacks versus the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night. Followed that up with another sack on Monday Night Football, this time of Sam Bradford in the Minnesota Vikings. He now has 3.5 sacks. He's now in second place in terms of sacks among rookies. Look out for Leonard Floyd. He's starting to figure it out. Remember, also had a scoop and score touchdown in that game versus the Packers. This is a guy that is getting the job done, and he's figuring some things out. Look for Leonard Floyd to make a power move to potentially get onto the rookie wall at some point. And also, there are two more guys that I want to mention as rookie pass rushers. Emmanuel Ogbah of the Cleveland Browns, and also Noah Spence of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Spence right now only being utilized as a third down situational pass rusher, but in that role, he's notched 3 sacks this season, as has Emmanuel Ogbah for the Cleveland Browns. Now, Ogbah's sacks haven't been as impressive. A couple of those have been coverage sacks and chasing down a quarterback from behind, but nonetheless, you're still bagging a quarterback. Both of these guys have 3 sacks on the season. Spence has that burst off the edge, still needs to refine his pass rush, however, but we said that about him coming out of school as well, so it's not a surprise that Noah Spence still needs to refine his pass rush, but there is a little bit of a burst there, and he does have 3 legitimate sacks on the season. So that's your week number 8 rookie wall. Some rookies will climb, others will fall. That's the In the Lab Room rookie wall. I will see you next week. So, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the rookie wall for week number 8 in the National Football League. Only one new entry to the list, but not totally new. He's been there before in Jordan Howard, and he ran his tail off and deserved to get back onto the rookie wall. There are some guys knocking on the door like Tyreek Hill and even Leonard Floyd, who has been playing some good football of late. So we'll see if those guys are able to penetrate the rookie wall in the upcoming weeks. So let's get to some of your comments. Let's kind of break this thing on in and break the ice a little bit tonight. Tristan Brown says, "What's up, Lou? How have you been, man?" I'm hanging in there. I've seen better days, but I'm hanging in there. I'm tired tonight, man. I am fighting through some sleep. I'm gonna get me some after this is over with. I'm drained right now. I've had a long week, but I'm good, man. How about yourself? Captain Spartan 04 says, "When you still shocked that the Patriots traded Jamie Collins?" I wasn't shocked today, but I was shocked when I found out on Monday. You know, I just didn't see that coming. You know, and it shouldn't shock me because it's the Patriot way, but it shocked me. Normally, they do that to players who are older, much older, that they feel like are past their prime, like a Richard Seymour or a Willie McGinnis or a Lawyer Malloy. They generally don't do that to a guy that's in the prime of his career that's turning 27 years old, but they didn't want to pay him the money that he was looking for. They didn't think he was worth that kind of money, and they thought it was time to move on. I just didn't think they needed to do it in season. I didn't think that made a lot of sense, but okay. Tristan Brown says, man, I've been looking forward to this all week. You always make my week better, man. Hey, I appreciate that. And I've seen that you just subscribed, so welcome aboard, man. Really appreciate you you chiming in. Glad I could be of some assistance to you, man. Sean Mack says, it's that old SEC money. That's the fact that the college football playoffs is the current SEC president. That's why A&M got the BS nod over Washington. So much football left to be played. It's going to play itself out, but I thought that was a little bit sketchy that undefeated Washington team is on the outside looking in. And I'm going to explain what the rationale probably was there, but it doesn't make it any better to me. DG Production says, I think I made it to the top but passed out as soon as I got up, but at least I ain't down there no more. Hashtag rise up. So we'll see what happens when we get to the Louie Tee versus the world portion of the show. See what you guys were able to do this week. I was not very good, but I told you I didn't think I was going to be very good. The Black Al Bundy says, my week 8 picks are like the Vikings O-line. Not worth ish. CTFU. Ouch. Black Al Bundy taking a shot at his own boys right there. That O-line is bad. Trust and believe that. DG Production says, who are your midseason MVP candidates and who do you think it will be? Right now, I think it's a two-man race. Three-man, okay, I'll throw Brady in there, even though I think it's a two-man race right now. But I know a lot of people love Tom Brady. Oh, he got suspended unjustly the first 4 games, and he's playing lights out, which we expected him to. So they're going to throw Brady in there. So I'll throw Brady in there. But for me, the two lead dogs in the house right now are Matt Ryan and the 4 Carr, Derek Carr. Those two guys are playing lights out football. Carr just threw for over 500 yards and got a win with 4 touchdowns over the Buccaneers in Tampa. Meanwhile, Matt Ryan had a similar day against the Carolina Panthers earlier in the season where he threw for over 500 yards. And Julio Jones' humongous day when he had 300 bills in that game. So, yeah, I think those are your 3 MVP candidates at the midpoint of the season. Brady, of course, in there. I can't put him above the other 2 because Brady's only played in 3 games this season. I think the Patriots already had their bye. No, they're 7-1, so he's playing 4 games this season. He beat Cleveland. They beat Buffalo this past week. They beat – who else did they play? They beat the – did he play in 4 games or only 3? I think the Patriots are 7-1. I think they're the only 7-1 team in the league because the Cowboys are 6-1 in the NFC, and I think the Patriots are 7-1 in the AFC. I just can't think of the teams that Brady has beaten thus far. They went 3-1 in that stretch without him, and he's come back and helped them beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's 1. The Cleveland Browns. That's 2. The Buffalo Bills. That's 3. And they beat someone else. So, yeah, he's played in 4 games. So, yeah, Brady's in there too. But I would look to the other 2 first before I went to Brady. Blackbird Blitz says, is the rookie wall a long-term thing or week to week? It's a cumulative list. So it's what you've done all season that adds up. But keep in mind, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league. So if you kill it the first 3 weeks of the season like Yannick Ngakoue does, that's going to keep you on the list for quite some time. But eventually you have to do more to stay on the list, or else guys who are playing better of late are going to supplant you, which is what happened to Yannick Ngakoue. He's the perfect example of what doing your work early gets you on this wall. He was on the rookie wall the first week it was unveiled, the second week, the third week, and you started to see the production dip. And then you've got nothing out of Yannick the last 2.5 weeks. And so Yannick goes from all the way as high as number 4 on the rookie wall to now not being on the rookie wall at all. And so that's what can happen when you don't continue to produce. He started out like gangbusters, and then he had 1 sack after starting out with 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception. He got a sack the following week, which kept him on the wall. And then he started to fall off, hasn't had a sack in now 3 weeks and counting. And so now he's no longer on the rookie wall. So it's a cumulative list. But from week to week, guys can make their way onto the rookie wall. Guys can see their way off the rookie wall as you start to kind of run out of, let's say, built up equity. Okay, you build up your equity like Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Carson Wentz. It's going to be hard for those guys to fall off the rookie wall because not only did they start out hot, but they're continuing to produce every week. So even if they have a bad game, unless guys above them are really killing it and killing it consistently, it's going to be hard to knock off a Carson Wentz or a Dak Prescott or an Ezekiel Elliott. These guys are killing it week after week after week after week. Whereas a guy like Jordan Howard, for instance, had 2 great games back to back and was playing some great football for the Bears. Then he just fell off the wagon against Jacksonville, did little to nothing in that game. The following week, he did absolutely nothing in another loss. Then he comes back and lights it up versus the Minnesota Vikings and helps them win. So voila, he's back. I mean, and then also what you have to take into consideration, what are the guys on the wall doing? If Yannick Ngakoue went out and got a sack and a half and forced another fumble, he wasn't coming off the rookie wall. And so you would have had a guy like Jordan Howard on the outside knocking in because nobody on the rookie wall deserved to be pulled off. But Yannick Ngakoue struggles. I think Jatavis Brown deserved to still be on the list. And so voila, Jordan Howard finds his way on. So yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's a long-term list. It's cumulative. So what have you done all season long? But also it's week to week because you need to continue to produce to stay on the wall. Captain Spartan 04 says, will any of my Steelers rookies ever at least be on the outside of the rookie wall this season? Probably not. The Steelers don't have any guys that jump off the screen at you as rookies right now. And it seems like a lot of their picks are very unimpactful early on. They usually draft guys that help them long term, like Jarvis Jones, first round pick a few years ago, 3-4 years back. Still hasn't evolved into what they thought he would, but he's a lot more accountable. They know what they're getting out of him now. And so he's a key contributor on that defense now, but he wasn't in his rookie season. He wasn't in his second season. It wasn't until like year 3 where he really started to see that light bulb come on for him. So, and that seems to be the case with Pittsburgh Steelers rookies for the most part. You know, outside of Le'Veon Bell and guys like that, normally that's what you get from the Steelers. Javon Hargraves, none of those guys have really stepped up and done anything noteworthy this season. So we'll see. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, Keanu Neal or Carl Joseph? I was a Carl Joseph guy coming into this draft, but watching Keanu Neal, I think his size lends me to liking him a little bit more. I think he's more athletic than I gave him credit for coming out of Florida. Carl Joseph, for me, though, is a guy that I think is a uber talent. Right now, he's still trying to figure out some things in the NFL. I'd like to see him be a little bit more instinctive like he was in college. He's not comfortable to that point to start doing that. But once he does, I think Carl Joseph might be the better pro all around. But if you're talking about an enforcer, a guy that's a hammer, that's going to come down and hit you in the mouth, both of these guys can do that. But I think Keanu Neal is a little bit more effective in that role. And I think that's exactly why he was brought on in Atlanta to be that hammer. So right now for me, Keanu Neal would be that guy. But I think long term, if you came back and asked me this question in 2 years from now, I think Carl Joseph might be the actual better pro. We'll see. But right now, Keanu Neal, I like him a little bit better than I do Carl Joseph. First name, last name says, what is your reaction to the resigning of Norv Turner in Minnesota? I would like to really know if this was Norv's doing. Did Norv say, all right, I had enough? Or if the Vikings politely asked him to go away and Norv said, well, you're not going to fire me. I'll just quit before you do that. So I'd like to know. Norv's been around this league for such a long time. He's such a great offensive mind. None of this is his fault. So I'd love to know who was involved in this decision-making process? Was this the front office trying to push Norv out the door and they wanted to get Pat Shurmur in there? Or is this a situation where Norv was like, you know what? There's nothing I can do here. This is a no-win situation for me. This offensive line is horrible, and it's going to look like I had something to do with this, and I don't. So let me just get out of here now before I tarnish my image, because this isn't a head coaching situation. This is an offensive coordinator. If Norv Turner can't be a great offensive coordinator, then what does he have? Because that's what his legacy has been. Hasn't been a great head coach, but he is a phenomenal offensive coordinator, and they just don't have the pieces on the offense right now to be exceptional offensively, because that offensive line is so dreadful. Cubone Football says, what do you value more, an elite offensive line or an elite D-line? I think I value an elite. That's such a tough question, because I think I would take the D-line first. I really would, because you can win ball games defensively. If your defensive line is wreaking havoc and destroying ball games, you can win in this league. If your offensive line isn't very good, like let's just take the Vikings for instance. Their offensive line isn't very good. But you're telling me they still can't win games? That's a farce. They can still win games. Their D-line can go out and dominate. Their defense can go out and dominate. They can still win games on special teams and defense. Even if the offense is horrible, they can still win. But if you have a bad D-line, and you didn't ask if you had a bad D-line, but let's just say you got a great offensive line, but your defensive line isn't all that good, you may be able to protect. And let's just take the Redskins, for instance. Their offensive line is one of the best in the league. And I'm not saying their D-line isn't good, but they're not great. They don't move the needle. You can score on the Redskins. The Redskins' offensive line is outstanding, but they still aren't scoring points. Redskins are racking up all these yards, but when they get in the red zone, they bog down. And I don't think the Redskins are an elite offensive line because they don't run the football at an elite level. Maybe if they had a different back, maybe that wouldn't be the case. But as of right now, the Cowboys are an elite offensive line. Their defensive line isn't all that great, but they get the job done. So you can look at it either way. I think if you got a great O-line, then you can control the clock like the Cowboys do. With Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott, they eat up time of possession, limit the amount of possessions you have offensively, and they win the game that way. And then the defense comes in, they're juiced up, they got plenty of energy because they haven't been on the field a ton, and they go out and they play good football. So you can look at it both ways, but I'd err on the side of caution and take the defensive line being elite. I mean, look at what the Denver Broncos did last year. Their offensive line wasn't that good. At times, they were horrible on the offensive line last year, but their D-line was dominant enough to go and beat Tom Brady in the playoffs, dominant enough to destroy Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers, who had been racking up points and yardage like they were going out of style on everybody last season. They dominated them. So I take the elite D-line over an elite offensive line. Let's see what we got. Captain Spartan says, just to let you know, when Artie Burns develops into a lockdown corner, we do have his nickname. You want to pass to who? We burning up that plan. We'll see. We will see. Tristan Brown says, yeah, I feel you, man. Same. I'm pretty tired myself. Been work and pre-con homework. I'm beat. I hear you, man. I am tired, dude. So I'm going to try to make this show as short as possible. It's been a really exhausting week this week. So K. Michael says, what's your opinion on Norv leaving mid-season? I just think it's a no-win situation for Norv Turner there. It's not fun coaching when you don't have the guys. You know, it started out with Teddy Bridgewater. He came into this season thinking, I'm going to be able to coach Teddy Bridgewater, Adrian Peterson, and we went out and stocked our offensive line, Andre Smith, among others, to come in and help us be much better. Alex Boone. This offensive line was supposed to be intact. Adrian Peterson behind them and Teddy Bridgewater under center. And now you've been totally changed into Sam Bradford, who isn't a stark drop-off from Teddy Bridgewater, but doesn't offer you any mobility. And especially behind this type of offensive line, if your quarterback can't run, can't extend plays, you're in trouble. Now there's no Adrian Peterson. There's Matt Asiata and the secret weapon, Jerick McKinnon. But what good are they behind that offensive line? They're not much of an asset to you. And then you've got receivers in and out of the lineup, but if that offensive line isn't blocking, who cares who your receivers are? It doesn't matter. Just like it doesn't matter who your running back is. Adrian Peterson wasn't gaining yards behind the offensive line before he got injured. So it's just tough when you prepare for all of this stuff And Norv's at an age now where, like, I'm too old for this, man. I've been doing this for such a long time. He's been the offensive coordinator of the triplets in Dallas when they were winning Super Bowls. He's been around that kind of NFL royalty before, and now he's dealing with this. It's just too much. I'm not in the right frame of mind to be dealing with this. I'm out of here. I can't do this right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think that Pat Shermer's going to come in with some of the same concepts that Norv Turner was. You'll be fine. You should be fine. But again, you're not going to win a championship offensively this season anyway. That was never going to be the MO or forte of that football team. You're going to win on defense and special teams. And if those guys aren't getting the job done on those portions of the ball for this Vikings team, you're not going to win many games anyway, no matter who your offensive coordinator is. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, be right back. About to create 10 accounts to subscribe to your channel and leave us here. You don't have to do that, but if you do, I appreciate that, man. That's great. That's awesome. All right. Let's see what else we got. Andre Mogul says, what is the deadline for weekly picks? You got to have them in before kickoff on Thursday Night Football. So normally right before Thursday Night Football, I put a message on that says, if your picks are after this message, then you're late and you get docked for the Thursday night game. So that's pretty much how I go about that. DG Production says, I just realized Vic Beasley is third in sacks. Is he for real or just pretending? No, he's for real. He's figuring it out. He's still got a long way to go, but he's figuring it out. And I think someone got in his ear and said, hey, man, you got a hell of a fastball. You need to start using it. Stop trying to come with the off-speed spin move when you haven't established your 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Establish that first, get hitters looking for that speed, and then you change up with the spin move. And I think Dwight Freeney might have gotten in his ear and said, look, young fella, you got all the tools to be great in this league, but you're not using them right. Come with the fastball first. Scare that tackle to open up his hips with the fastball first. He needs to be shaking in his boots, thinking, I got to get out of my stance quickly and open my hips up to protect my quarterback so that Vic Beasley doesn't get around the edge and beat me senseless like he did against the Denver Broncos. And the minute they start doing that, the minute they start thinking, got to get outside for the speed rush, that's when you beat them to the inside with the spin move. That's what Dwight Freeney has made a living off of. Beating guys outside with the speed, and right when he sees them open up that hip too quickly, boom, I got you. Spin move, inside, got you. So Vic is starting to learn how to set guys up, and he's got to use the speed rush more, and he's figuring things out. And even when he's not getting there, he's staying relentless, just like last week against Green Bay when he got a sack. Adrian Claiborne created pressure. Vic Beasley stayed resilient, stayed after the quarterback, ran into another sack. That's what you got to do. When you get 15 sacks on the season, all of them aren't going to be pure, unadulterated speed rushes or winning right off the snap. Sometimes you're going to have to hustle and hope that you got good coverage or somebody else wins immediate. Quarterback has to step up. Boom. You walk into a sack. He's starting to get all of those things coming together. I think he's right around 7.5 now. So, yes, Vic Beasley putting in some work. He's not pretending. He's starting to figure things out. K. Michael says, who are your top 3 defensive players of the year nominees now that J.J. Watt is out for the year? Right now, defensive players of the year. I can't really recall too many guys standing out. I mean, even your sack leaders are guys that you can't expect to continue the production that they've given you. Lorenzo Alexander, come out of nowhere with 9 sacks. Can't imagine that he's going to continue. And he just sustained an injury not too long ago. Can't imagine that he sustains that kind of production. The guys that you expected to be in the race, I mean, Von Miller's around. He's sniffing around. But he hasn't had a dominant season. He's been good. Let's not underscore what he's done, undersell it. But he's been good, not dominant. Khalil Mack, a guy that you would have thought would have took a huge step this year, hasn't been all that impressive. Did have 2 sacks and a couple of pressures versus Tampa Bay, but he's still trying to figure some things out himself. No Justin Houston. I mean, all your big-time edge rushers aren't really doing much outside of Von Miller, like I said. Linebackers, Luke Kuechly not doing much in Carolina. They're struggling on the season. So you look at the good teams and you try to look around and say, well, who's playing really well on a good team and the defense has a part in it? You say the Vikings, but none of their players are really standouts. To me, that's a collective unit that plays well defensively. So I don't really know right now. Seattle doesn't have anybody that's really tearing it up. Hard for me to really say. To be honest with you, I really haven't been that impressed with any one defender in the league or one defender on a specific team where I'm saying to myself, man, that guy is killing it, to the point where you're like, wow, he should be the MVP defensively this season. I haven't really been seeing that. So I don't really have an answer for you right now. Maybe things will start to shape up over the next couple of weeks. Ray Fitty says, what you think about Cowboy safety J.J. Wilcox? He's a hard-hitting safety, very physical, instinctual, but sometimes to a fault. You can overrun plays, be out of position, but he's a solid safety. For me, I don't think he's a guy that you can rely on consistently, but he brings his lunch box and his hard hat and his hammer, man. That guy goes to work. He's a physical safety. That is for sure. So I think that's it. As for comments, got one more. Tristan Brown says, is Josh Norman playing as good as you wanted him to when he came to the Skins? Yes. I love what he's brought to the table. He instills confidence in our entire defense. He's made some plays. He hasn't made some plays, but I tell you what, man, without him, we're not 4-3-1 right now. I can assure you of that. We've probably won 2 games that we probably wouldn't have won if we don't beat the Giants in week 3 without him. Odell Beckham, yeah, he went off in the second half, but he didn't score any touchdowns. And I'm telling you right now, any of our other corners would have given up some touchdowns in that game. We would have been in trouble. And we might not even win the Cleveland Browns game if he's not in that ball game. He had some big plays, including a huge interception to help us put that game away. So Josh Norman has been everything that we thought he would be and then some. And he's been a great investment. Love Josh Norman, and I think he's a guy that is going to definitely continue to exceed my expectations as a Redskin. Rarely Even, my man Reese says, hey Lou, how do you like our chances tomorrow night? He's a Buccaneers fan. And I'm going to tell you like this. You got a chance because it's family business and because you've beat these guys 3 times in a row. Can you make it 4? We'll see. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not sold on the Buccaneers at all whatsoever. Jameis Winston looked horrible last game. This defense was reeling. The Falcons are hot offensively right now. There are a lot of questions in Tampa, not enough answers. And I'm starting. I know it's early, and I hate to do this, but I think something's missing with Dirk Cutter as a head coach. Something about him doesn't sit right with me. I don't know if he just seems lost. He seems incompetent. It just seems like he's missing something as a head coach. I don't know. It might just be me. I might be overreacting. I don't actually have a reason. Just there's something uneasy about him as a head coach for me. I look at him and I'm like, something isn't right there. I can't put my finger on it. But I don't know if I'm buying Dirk Cutter as a head coach in this league. We'll find out. But you guys got a shot. Definitely got a shot. Because you've won that game 3 times in a row. You swept them last year. You beat them up in their place this on the first game of the season. So you definitely got a shot. No doubt about it. But I am not hot on and high on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. Sean Mack says, without Carr or Zeke, Cowgirls or Raiders aren't this good. To me, they are easily in the MVP race. No doubt about Zeke Elliott. But I just don't see him winning the trophy in his rookie season. It's rare for a rookie to come in and get that kind of praise. They much rather give him the Rookie of the Year than the MVP. Now, if there weren't any other guys lighting it up and he continues to play the way he has, I mean, if this guy rushes for 1,800 yards and 13 touchdowns and the Cowboys go 13-3, he's a huge part of that. Hard to argue with him making a case for MVP. But if Derek Carr continues to do what he's done this season and the Raiders win 10 games and make it to the playoffs, they don't even have to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs, are the Raiders. And he continues to light it up. And Matty Ice continues to light it up for the Atlanta Falcons and they win their division. Hard to see a running back wrestling away MVP from a quarterback. Quarterbacks touch the football on just about every single snap. They're too impactful to a team's success. I just don't see Zeke Elliott snatching that away from those guys if they continue to play the type of ball they've been playing. With that being said, let's jump into Looky.
Looky, I got hooky.
Look at me. 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 Look at me.
So I want to take a look at last week's action. Told you last week was a weird week for me. Some of you guys, I know my man Sean Mack, he was bragging on Twitter all last week. Oh man, I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I got one. If I get the Minnesota game, I might be able to take over the throne. So I know his week had to be good. But for most of us, I won't speak for anybody else because I don't know what you guys did. For me, I said it was going to be a rough week, and it was a rough week. So let's go over this real quick. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Everybody should have got this one right. I think we all kind of saw the writing on the wall with Jacksonville going into this game. And we felt like Tennessee was starting to make some power moves. They started to do some good things in the run game. Mariota starting to come into his own. We thought that Tennessee could win this game. I didn't think they would win it as convincingly as they did. They dominated that game and had it in the bag by halftime. It was a really poor effort by the Jaguars in that game, but make no mistake about it. I think everybody assumed Tennessee would get that one going into Thursday Night Football last week. Washington at Cincinnati over in London. Redskins had ample opportunities to win that football game. So did Cincinnati. You could argue both teams pissed away opportunities, but ultimately the Redskins had the best opportunity to win in overtime, and their kicker, Dustin Hopkins, misses from 27 yards. 34 yards out. Essentially an extra point, 1 yard more than an extra point. Redskins tie with the Cincinnati Bengals, the second tie in as many weeks, 27-27 over in London. Probably the best game that London has seen in the NFL's international series in the 17 games displayed overseas. Green Bay at Atlanta. This was a really fun game over in the 4 o'clock hour. Falcons made a statement in that game. I thought this was a game that they could win, but it would not have shocked me had they lost because we still got questions about their defense. Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this game is that Aaron Rodgers looked like Aaron Rodgers in this game. And that's scary for other teams around the league. But that being said, Matt Ryan continued to show why he's an MVP candidate. Trailing late in this game, took his team down the field when they had to have it. Check, 1-2, 1-2. Guess who? Mohamed Sanu stepped up big, including a game-winning touchdown and the extra point tacked on by Matt Bryant as the Falcons edged the Green Bay Packers by 1 point in a really well-played football game. New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Bills started this game out competitive, but the Patriots ran away with this game, put up 41 points, and destroyed the Buffalo Bills in this game. Bills dealing with a ton of injuries to the point where now Percival Harvin is back on the Bills roster. And that's when you know when you're desperate. I've talked about this Bills team needing to upgrade their skill position. There are not enough playmakers out there with Samuel Watkins out, Goodwin out at the receiver position. They just got too many guys. Just a guy out there at receiver. Percival Harvin looking to come in and give him a spark, but for how long? He's good for 2 or 3 games, and then he's going to get hurt. So Bills destroyed, and you knew this was a get-back game for the Patriots. Remember, their only loss in the season came to this Bills team that shut them out and blanked them in Foxborough the last game without Brady. So they were looking for a measure of revenge, exacted it in a big win over the Buffalo Bills. New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns. This game right here got me to the point now where I'm saying the Browns aren't going to win a game this season. All right, they were up 20-7 at halftime. The Jets aren't a good team. You had them on the ropes, and you let them off the hook. If you can't beat the Jets at home with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback, when they spot you a 20-7 lead, I don't know who you're going to beat this season. Big win for the Jets as they try to climb back to 500. They're now 3-5 on the season after a 1-5 start. They got a big one at Miami. If they can get that game, get to a game under 500, maybe this Jets team can make some noise and try to get back into the AFC playoff race. Kansas City Chiefs at the Indianapolis Colts. This was a telling game, and I said it was going to be in my games pick'em video last week, where I basically said we're going to find out a lot about these two teams. Kansas City struggles with Indy on a regular basis. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are a team that you look at and you say, look, nobody's talking about these guys. They went into that game at 4-2, and they had to be the quietest 4-2 team in the league. No one is talking about Chiefs football because they're not flashy. They don't go out and throw it 37, 45 times in a game. Alex Smith isn't throwing for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. They're a grinded out type of team. They play just good enough defense. They run the football. They do just enough on offense. And you put those collective units together and they find a way to win. That being said, you look at the Indianapolis Colts, and you say, look, the Colts can make a push in this division. They come off of a win on the road in the division at Tennessee, and you're like, okay, get back to 500. That's been the motto and the mantra for the Colts all season long. Let's just get back to 500. And every time they got a shot, they go out and they lose a ball game and drop themselves 2 games under 500. Well, this was an opportunity. Alex Smith left the game on 2 different occasions, the second time for good in this ball game. You get Nicholas Foles, and he comes in and shreds a trash can Indianapolis Colts defense. They're not a good team, and this game, to me, solidified that. Not that Kansas City is a slouch, and you should be ashamed of losing to them, but it's the way they lost this game. They were dominated. Chiefs got it done, and the Chiefs go to 5-2. Again, the quietest 5-2 in the league this season. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts keep messing up and pissing away opportunities. They're now 3-5 on the season. I don't think they're going to make a push for their division, but I say all of that, and they're only 2 games out in the AFC South. Seattle Seahawks at the New Orleans Saints. This was a very entertaining game. Came down to the very last snap of the game. Russell Wilson throws a fade in the back of the end zone to Jermaine Kearse, who can't get his second foot down in bounds. That's how this ball game ended. It was a very well-played game with a lot of ups and downs, twists and turns. New Orleans defense actually stepping up in this game, making some plays late down the stretch to hold the Seahawks and keep this lead. I'm impressed with this New Orleans Saints defense the last couple of weeks. Even though they lost to Kansas City, I thought their defense played well in that game. And Drew Brees threw a pick 6 in that game. So I thought the defense actually showed well last week, or 2 weeks ago in a loss, and showed well this past week in a win versus Seattle. Maybe they're coming along defensively. Offensively, we know what this team is about. If they can get anything from their defense, look out for the New Orleans Saints. If they get it done, Seattle, Russell Wilson's not right. That was my biggest takeaway from this game. Even though the numbers don't bear it out, and if you watch the game, you say to yourself, something's wrong here. He's not moving around. I heard a rumor that he had a rotator cuff injury. We know about the sprained MCL. So this guy's got a number of big-time injuries that's hindering him. And he's still out playing ball. Give him some credit. Take nothing away from him, but it's not the Russell Wilson we're accustomed to seeing. You saw that in this game. They lose to New Orleans in a tight ball game. It was a very fun game to watch. Oakland Raiders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Oakland Raiders. Thought this was a crazy game. Oakland with NFL record amount of penalties, 23, 24, something along those lines, for over 200 yards. Still won the game in overtime. Buccaneers had ample opportunities to win this game. They simply just didn't want to win. And so the Raiders said, if you don't mind if I do. And so they take that game. Seth Roberts with a catch on 4th and 4, splitting 2 defenders who run into each other, trying to tackle him into the end zone. Raiders get their 6th win of the season, go to 6-2 on the season with a 23-17 overtime victory, giving them a huge opportunity on Sunday Night Football, setting up a huge AFC West showdown between the Oakland Raiders, who are at home, versus the Denver Broncos, who also is 6-2 coming into this game. Winner of that game will leave as the leaders in the clubhouse in the AFC West at 7-2 on the season. Buccaneers drop that game. They fall to 3-5 on the season after scratching and clawing their way back to 500 on the season. They're now, I think they are 3-4. Excuse me. They got back to 500 right before their bye, or they got to a game under 500. Excuse me, right before their bye. Then beat San Francisco. A lot of Buccaneers fans feeling good. Back to 500, 3-3, and then blowing opportunity to get over 500 with this loss. They're now 3-4 on the season. Detroit at Houston. Lions came into this game riding a 3-game winning streak. They were 1-3 at one point on the season, won 3 in a row to get to 4-3. Had an opportunity to go to 5-3 versus a reeling Texans team. Remember, Texans undefeated at home, struggling on the road. They showed that in this game, played good football. Brock Osweiler was good enough. They get it done, win their 5th straight at home, 5-0 at home, 0-3 on the road. Texans get it done and win this game. Some questionable decisions by Jim Caldwell in this game, including the decision to kick an onside kick late in this ball game with all 3 timeouts with over 2 minutes left in the ball game. Didn't think that was the right decision there, but that's what he decided to do. Texans get the win, go to 5-3, remain atop the AFC South division by a game. You could argue a game and a half over Tennessee, who's 4-4, but they own the tiebreaker currently after beating Tennessee a month ago. San Diego at Denver. San Diego Superchargers Really entertaining game. A lot of turnovers. This was a wacky game. Phillip Rivers throws 3 interceptions in this game. There's some fumbles that happened. A number of different things took place, but at the end of the day, the Denver Broncos defense got it done, sealed the deal, sacking Phillip Rivers late in the ball game to turn the football over on downs and secure the victory, 27-19. Couple of missed kicks by the Chargers in this game cost them some points and cost them the opportunity to potentially have an opportunity to tie this game and not have to go for a touchdown in the red zone late in this ball game and be denied. So a number of things transpired there. Bottom line is Broncos get it done, go to 6-2 and set up the aforementioned huge Sunday Night Football AFC West family business affair with the Oakland Raiders. Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers. This one got ugly quick, much like the NFC Championship game a year ago when these two teams met in that same venue, Bank of America Stadium. Panthers jump on the Arizona Cardinals in the first half of this game. At one point, 24-0 this game was. Cardinals would cut it to a 2-score lead, but they were never really in this ball game. The final score ended up being 30-20, was not indicative of how this game really went. The Panthers dominated, started with the turnover of Palmer that was returned for a touchdown, never really looked back in this game. The big story from this game, Cam Newton taking a low hit to his knees and talking about him not getting calls, which he is correct about. But really, Cam Newton, no one really wants to hear from him because he's whiny after losses and complains. So it tarnishes his image when he goes out and complains about not getting calls after a win. When you lose, you don't even want to talk to people. So he should have let someone else do that complaining for him. Let someone else be a mouthpiece for him there. His coach, one of the other players. That someone else should have stepped up in his defense. He shouldn't have done that at the podium. But in any event, Panthers come off the bye, get a much-needed win, snap the 4-game losing streak that they were on. They're now 2-5 in this season. They're not dead yet, but they got a long way to go to pronounce themselves alive and well. We'll see what they can do out on the road in Los Angeles, taking on the L.A. Rams coming off of a bye. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals continue to have an uneven season thus far. At 3-4-1, this is a team you look at and you say, what are you? No, seriously, what are you? I told you there have been road struggles with this Arizona Cardinals football team. They lost to Buffalo earlier in the year. They lost this game. They haven't been good on the road this season, but they haven't been that great at home either, protecting the house this season. Losing to L.A. at home, tying with Seattle at home. This is a team that's struggling. You really can't put your finger on what's wrong with this offense. Carson Palmer isn't himself this season. It just seems like this offense is off. The defense is sporadic and inconsistent. They look like game busters at home versus Seattle 2 weeks ago. They come out sluggish, and Carolina dominates them in this game. So really hard to know what you're getting from the Cardinals week to week. They drop to 3-4-1 on the season. Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Turned out to be a really good football game. We thought it would be. NFC East showdown in this football game. Cowboys looking to get to 6-1 and really put some serious distance between them and everybody else in the division with a win. Coming off the bye, they felt good about their situation. Eagles coming into this game, coming off a huge win, their biggest win of the season against the Minnesota Vikings, previously undefeated. So they felt good about what they had accomplished the week before, thinking they could go into Dallas and do the same thing. And for 3.5 quarters, it looked like they were going to do exactly that. They were up 10, 23-13 in the fourth quarter before relinquishing that lead and allowing the Cowboys to win the toss and take the football right down the field, get into the end zone with a touchdown to Jason Witten to win the game, go to 6-1 on the season, and the Eagles dropped this game, a huge opportunity to bring everybody and themselves closer to the Cowboys in the division. Had they won that game, the Eagles would have had a piece of first place. Instead, they lose that game, drop to 4-3 on the season. So it's a tough loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. After having a chance to get to 5-2 and dropping the Cowboys to 5-2, instead they drop to 4-3. You move on, and Dallas, huge win. Let me say that. With that win, they put some serious distance between them and everybody else in the division. Now they've got a 2-game lead on everyone, and you could argue 2.5 on everybody just about in the division, having beaten everyone except the Giants, who I don't think is a serious threat at this point. So we'll see what happens. Huge game between Philly and New York this week. The winner of that game going to be in second place. The loser of that game is going to be in last place as the Redskins are off. So that's going to really shake up things in the NFC East. Going to find out who's serious and who's not with that football game in the NFC East. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys have a chance to go to 7-1 with the Cleveland Browns on the schedule in week number 8. Great opportunity for them to go to week number 9. Great opportunity for them to go to 7-1 on the season. We'll see what happens there. Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. The Bears, really disappointing effort from the Minnesota Vikings in this game. The offensive line didn't show up. The defensive line didn't show up. Jordan Howard almost had 100 yards rushing in the first half, had 145 all-purpose yards at halftime with his 48 receiving yards and 97 rushing yards at the halftime break. Went well over 100 yards rushing at game's end with 156 yards on 26 carries and a touchdown. He was dynamic and dominant in that game. Jay Cutler, pretty clean, wasn't under duress, shredded that Minnesota Vikings secondary. And meanwhile, offensively, the Bears dominated up front, got to Sam Bradford, made him uncomfortable, forced the issue, and won the football game 20-10. No one really saw that one coming, but it's family business. Expect the unexpected. Bears knew the Vikings and came in, got the win. Minnesota, after starting 5-0, have now dropped 2 straight games after their bye. They'll see if they can pick themselves up off the canvas at home in another family business showdown with the Detroit Lions. So Bears get their second win of the season. We'll see if they can build some momentum off of that huge win against the Minnesota Vikings. So that's your looky at week 8 in the National Football League. A lot of games went in different directions. Some that I saw coming, others that I did not. But that's why we love this game. It's hard to anticipate what's going to happen from week to week. Let's get to some of your comments before we move on to College Corner. See what we got. All right. See where we are right here. Smoking at 3, hashtag 1000, hashtag dog pound says, imagine the Cowboys without an O-line. Would they get over 3 wins? Probably not. The catalyst for their success starts up front. Dak Prescott isn't that clean if their offensive line isn't that good, which wouldn't afford him the time. You saw how he looked when he was under duress. 19-39 in that game. He struggled for most of the game, but when they needed him most, and I keep reiterating that, because that's all that really matters. You can struggle for 3 quarters, but when your team needs you the most in the 4th quarter, if you step up, that's all anybody's going to remember. Nobody's going to remember the interception in the end zone that was terrible, the interception he almost threw in the back of the end zone that would have been equally as bad, if not worse. Nobody's going to remember that because the Cowboys win the game because he willed them to a victory late with a couple of big possessions in regulation that got the score tied, and then a huge overtime possession that kept the football away from the Eagles and won them the football game. That's anybody's going to talk about. But again, if you put pressure on him, he can make mistakes. With that offensive line in front of him, you're not going to get to him very often unless you blitz, and you got to be effective in that blitz. You can't just willy-nilly blitz and think you're going to get in. This offensive line is too good. In the running game, I don't even really need to speak about that. We all know the impact that has had on this offense. And hell, I take it a step further. The impact that the offensive line in the running game has had on that Cowboys defense is profound. Because they run it so well, because they dominate time of possession, they keep their defense off the field and they wear down opposing defenses. So I'd have to agree with you. I don't know if 3 would be all they get. I mean, they were horrible last year and they won 4. But tell you what, it'd be tough sledding for the Cowboys. They would not be 6-1 right now without that offensive line, that's for certain. Andre Mogul says, I feel that too about Cutter. And I know him well. He doesn't have that head coach it factor. It's something about him, man. I look at Dirk Cutter and I'm like, you missing something, man. And I can't put my finger on it. I know he's got a sharp offensive mind. I've seen him do good things before. I just don't know if he's anything more than an offensive coordinator. That's my biggest gripe. I look at him, I'm like, I'm not sure you have the pulse of your football team. I'm not sure if you really get it or not. I look at him and I listen to him talk after games at press conferences, and I'm just like, I think you missing something. And then I watch him on the sidelines and I watch the way his team responds, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions, but I don't know. I don't know about Dirk Cutter. Sean Mack says, I want to bitch slap Skip Bayless. He needs to get Jerry Jones' meat stick out of his mouth, LOL. Well, he's a Cowboys fan, so obviously he's going to be biased towards the Cowboys. But again, I don't watch the show, so I don't know much of what he says, and I honestly don't care. But yes, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. He used to report for like the Dallas Morning Star for years, or whatever the Dallas newspaper was out there back in the day. He was on it for years. He was a beat writer. He was around the Cowboys in their heyday in the 90s when they were good. Even I think as well as the late 80s when they were bad. So he's been there. He's probably from that area, very familiar with the Cowboys. He loves them. So that's going to be something that you're going to have to continue to deal with if you're going to watch Skip Bayless. Captain Spartan 04 says, this is the last week I'll be undefeated. You're right, because now you put your picks in and nobody wants to hear, I was 13-0 this week. Yeah, so we're going to find out how good you are because you've been talking some cold, hard trash. Yeah, I'm ready to see you in action. So I'm glad you signed up, came in, stepped in the mosh pit here on the Louie Tee Live, Louie Tee versus the World Challenge. And I want to see how you stack up against me in the world. So we're going to find out. RG3, hashtag smoking that 3, hashtag 1000, hashtag dog pound says, should the Packers draft Juju Smith to help the Packers out? I don't like Juju Smith. I think he's an overrated wide receiver out of USC. We'll see what happens. We'll see. I mean, I don't want to kill the young man, and I haven't watched him enough. I'm just telling you that I'm not overly impressed with what he's brought to the table. I don't think he's a height, weight, speed specimen. I think he's got some size, got some length, probably got some good hands, but he's not fast at all. But that doesn't make you a great receiver in this league, so I got to watch him. Before I criticize and talk about what he is or isn't, I got to watch him. But I think some of that malice that's coming out of my mouth right now is due to how many people were building this guy up as the next big thing at the receiver position. And as I've watched him, I haven't seen any of that. DG Production says, should I be concerned about the Panthers defense coming back? Just got 8 sacks against Arizona, LOL. No, you shouldn't be concerned. They're still a little bit ways off the path, so to speak. But Arizona's offensive line isn't very good. But if you're a Panthers fan, that was encouraging to see them get after the quarterback because they hadn't been doing much of that this season. So to see them get after Carson Palmer, force a fumble, make him uncomfortable, that's a great sign for the Carolina Panthers. But if you're a Falcons fan, you shouldn't be worried at all. Keep taking care of business, and you don't have to worry about the Panthers this season. RVH FLVCKO says, what do you think about Nick Foles starting for my Chiefs? I think Alex Smith is good, but his conservative play will keep us from getting to the next level. I know I'm not crazy, LOL. No, you're not crazy. And people have beaten me up in the past. I've had people bash me because I talk about Alex Smith. There's a glass ceiling over the Kansas City Chiefs football team because Alex Smith is your quarterback. There's only so far you can go. There's only so much you can do offensively because Alex Smith is your quarterback. Face it. I look at it like this. I saw the game, and I was impressed with Nicholas Foles. We've seen him do this before. He had a 27-2 season with the Philadelphia Eagles under Chip Kelly in year one when they lit it up, won 10 games, went to the playoffs, won the division, all of that good stuff, hosted a home playoff game versus New Orleans and lost. We saw that before. So we know Nicholas Foles can play the position. But this is the difference you get between Nicholas Foles and Alex Smith. You get chunk plays offensively, whereas with Alex Smith, dun dun dun, Captain Checkdown. With Captain Checkdown, you got to matriculate the football down the field. It's an 11, 12, 13 play drive that's going to span 75 yards to get you into the end zone, which is fine. A touchdown's a touchdown's a touchdown. However, you were quick striking those boys. You were getting chunk plays. Nicholas Foles had 22 pass attempts, 16 completions. He had 200 and some odd yards passing. If Alex Smith has 16 completions, that's for 165, 170, 75, 85 max yards. He's not throwing for over 200 yards with 16 completions. But that's what you get out of Nicholas Foles, a guy that can throw the football down the field, has a much bigger arm than Alex Smith, that can drive it down the field and give some of these fast, big play receivers an opportunity to make some plays down the field, like a Tyreek Hill, who we saw make some big plays in that game. One for a touchdown, another one that set you up in scoring position. Like a Jeremy Maclin, who can stretch the field and get deep. And I think a guy like Nicholas Foles can come in and help. I have a feeling Alex Smith is the man, first and foremost, out in Kansas City. This isn't going to be a San Francisco 49ers situation where he could lose his job. However, I think if Nicholas Foles goes out and plays well in this next game versus Jacksonville, which he should. It's the Jaguars. You're at home. He should dominate them. You're going to hear some Kansas City Chiefs fans saying, hey, man, why not Nicholas Foles? He gives us a much more explosive offense, especially if you go out. Because this is the thing. I looked at it, and I know it's really minor, and I really shouldn't be making a big deal out of it. But the Chiefs don't score 30 points very often. Not with Alex Smith at quarterback. You forced 8 turnovers of the Jets earlier in the season and only scored 27 points. You scored 30 with Nicholas Foles this week. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. You scored 30. If you score over 30 again, like I'm telling you, red lights are going to be flashing off. Like really bright red lights. Like, hey, man, you may have something here. I'm not saying you got to bench Alex Smith. I'm just telling you, you may have something better over here on the bench. That's all I'm saying. So, no, you're not crazy. It crossed my mind, and I've already said this, and I've had Chiefs fans beat me up for this in the past, not giving Alex Smith enough credit. Alex Smith is a solid quarterback, but there are limitations. There is a glass ceiling on that team with him at quarterback. Sean Mack says, Browns' loss proves that Hugh is tanking. How the hell do you not hand it off to Crow in that second half? 6 carries in the second half with the lead. It's tanking from the front office. Poor players. I don't know if that's tanking or not. Hugh wants to win. Hugh is hurting over there. Every loss takes away a little bit of Hugh's soul. He's not a loser. So I told you. And I've been telling you this. This is a passing league. And a lot of times when teams stop running the ball, when they're having success, it doesn't make sense. Never usually is the case that it makes sense. This is a league where coordinators and head coaches and play callers want to throw the football. They have egos. And the best way for them to showcase their talents as a play caller, whether you're a head coach or offensive coordinator, is to throw the ball. Nobody gets a ton of credit for having a complex, dynamic run game. The Panthers had a dynamic run game last year. Did anybody come beating down Mike Shula's door to interview them for a job last year? No, because he ran the football. That was primarily how the Panthers dominated up front. They ran the football, and Cam Newton play actioned off of that. But you look around the league at these teams that throw it a ton, everybody wants their coordinator. Man, this guy's smart. He's innovative. He knows how to get the football into the end zone and get it down the field. We want to talk to Adam Gase, quarterback whisperer. We want to talk to Josh McDaniels out there in New England with Tom Brady. We want to talk to Sean McVay, Washington Redskins offensive coordinator. These guys love to throw the football. It's a passing league, and despite what we say every year, and it proves to be true every year, that you win with defense and a run game, coaches and their staff, they continuously neglect the run game in spots where they should be employing more run and less pass. It's just the trendy thing to do. All right, this is a perfect place to stop as we go on to the next segment. And I got some things to talk about here in the College Corner. Okay, so this week, as you can see, scrolling up and down the screen, it's the CFP Top 25, no longer the AP poll that I usually have in the corner. So what's different about this is the NCAA has released their college football playoff seeding right now. And so obviously subject to change. It's a fluid list and ranking of these teams, but you kind of get a general idea as to where these teams fall in the pecking order right now in college football. If the season ended today, those are your top 4 teams right now. But obviously, we got a ton of games left. We got all of these conference championships and things of that nature, some big games, rivalry games like Ohio State, Michigan still left on the schedule and left to decide some huge playoff seedings. So there's a ton of football left to be played. But that being said, the assumption was that when this list was first released, that the top 4 teams, in no specific order, would be Alabama, Clemson, Michigan, and Washington. Well, Texas A&M somehow leapfrogs an undefeated Washington team, even though Texas A&M has a loss to their name, and that loss was to the number 1 team in the country, granted. However, And we know Texas A&M has played some tough games, and they're in the SEC. I get it. And this is the argument that everybody's made thus far, and it's okay, it's fine, because I think when it's all said and done, Washington is going to be there. But that being said, everyone's argument is that Washington hasn't played anyone. Well, they just went to Utah and beat the Utah Utes. It wasn't an easy game. Utah was ranked 17th or 18th at the time of the game. It's a tough environment, tough place to play. They got it done. So I don't want to hear that they haven't played anybody and they went on the road and they beat a good team. That's more than Michigan can say this season. They haven't beat anyone on the road. Michigan State is their toughest road test to this point in the season, and Michigan State stinks this season. So, but Michigan, I'm not taking anything away from them. They've been killing teams this year. We know what they did to Rutgers on the road. All right. Colorado was a good test for them, but that was at home. Wisconsin was a good test for them. That was at home. They played Penn State. Yeah, you get the picture. That was at home. So they played a ton of home games, ton of home cooking. But we're going to really find out what that team is all about. And they're going to have their mettle tested when they go to Ohio State, to the Big Horseshoe later on in the season. We'll see if Michigan is really good enough to be among the playoff teams. And they could actually lose that game. Let's say they lose on a last-second field goal. They could actually lose that game and still be one of the 4 playoff teams, which is amazing, which means Washington could still be on the outside looking in, because after that win by Clemson, I thought they were going to lose. Everybody thought they were going to lose that game to Florida State, and they were able to pull it out. I think Clemson has clear sailing, a clear path to the college football playoffs. They just got to win out, win the ACC championship, which they will. If they just continue to play solid football, they should be fine. They're going to be in there along with Alabama. Just no one really sees. I'll tell you what, one interesting game, and it's not going to be for a little while. LSU is going to be a tough task for Alabama, but I think they're going to get by them. I'll tell you the one that's going to really be a funny game. That Iron Bowl against Auburn, we didn't think Auburn was going to be much at the beginning of the season, but now all of a sudden, Auburn's looking like a serious competitor. They destroyed Arkansas 56-3 a couple weeks ago. They're not playing around, okay? And now that I look, they lost to Clemson by like 3 or 4 points, 4 or 5 points, something like that. It was a competitive football game that the Clemson Tigers barely pulled out earlier at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I'm telling you, Auburn is a lot better than we thought they were going to be this season. They could compete potentially with Alabama during that Iron Bowl. That should be fascinating. But to me, I'm not going to make much of this college football list right now, because at the end of the day, I think Washington gets in there because they're good enough and they deserve to be there, and they're going to be undefeated, I believe. A lot of people think they still could lose to Washington State at the end of the season for that Apple Cup. We'll see what happens. I love Washington State. You know why I love Washington State. I told you at the beginning of the season when I did my college football bold predictions video, I told you what my bold prediction would be. I told you that Luke Falk would rise from the quarterback abyss and be the best quarterback prospect in the draft class, rise up draft boards and be one of the first quarterbacks taken in the 2017 NFL draft. And that is not looking like a bad prediction right now as we sit at this point in the college football season. So Washington State could easily jump up and bite Washington in a huge rivalry matchup. We'll see what happens there, but make no mistake about it. A lot of things, a lot of discussions have happened since this college football playoffs ranking has been released, but it's still going to sort itself out. We shouldn't have many discussions come seasons, and unless some craziness happens and 2 Big Ten teams like Ohio State and Michigan get in, and a team like Washington with an undefeated record is sitting on the outside looking in because Clemson and Alabama finished running the table. That's when things could get a little dicey. We'll see what happens. But I'll give you my top 5 games for this upcoming week in college football. Number 18, Oklahoma State at K-State. This is a really, really troublesome game for Oklahoma State. Actually, K-State is favored in this game. It's a pick'em game, really. They've got K-State at a 3.5-point favorite right now, and I'm telling you, that could be a tricky game. Every time I want to jump on the Oklahoma State bandwagon, they lose to a team they have no business losing to. I could easily see them dropping that one to K-State out there. There's just something about playing in Manhattan where you can get into some trouble. Would not shock me if they lost that game. Number 4 game on the schedule for me this week, Iowa at number 12, Penn State. Penn State been playing some good football, confident football of late. Iowa has been ranked. Then they lose to North Dakota State. Then they play a tough game against Nebraska, almost win, almost beat Wisconsin, they've been in ball games. They just haven't been good enough, but they're still a dangerous team is Iowa. And it would not shock me in the least as they went to Happy Valley, put some defense on those boys, shut down Saquon Barkley, and came out of there with a 16-13 win because Iowa didn't score a ton of points. That's how they lost to North Dakota State. They didn't score a ton of points. But they could hold down Penn State and they not score a ton of points. I could see Iowa getting out of there with a 16-13 win. Would not shock me in the least. Number 3 game of the weekend, number 11, Florida at Arkansas. Arkansas got drubbed, I just told you, by Auburn, 56-3. That being said, Florida coming off a huge win in their rivalry game versus Georgia. Arkansas don't have much to lose at this point. They've been a solid team this year, but as you can see, they're starting to run out of gas now. They've had a tough stretch of football. Alabama, Auburn, now they got Florida. I don't know if they have much left in the tank, but we'll see. Florida, you know what kind of defense they play. Arkansas could be in trouble yet again, but it's a SEC game. It's on the road. Let's see if Florida can take care of business. And number 2, the only top 10 ranked opponents matchup in this week. Number 10, Nebraska at number 6, OSU. Ohio State coming off of their first loss of the season, and Urban Meyer's first loss on the road in the Big Ten in quite some time, maybe ever. Okay, so they're looking to bounce back here. They can't afford any more hiccups. They got to be playing good football the rest of the way and find a way to beat Michigan down the road. But you got to take it one game at a time. Nebraska is capable of getting this done. They had a heck of a ball game with Wisconsin last week. So this is a Nebraska team right now that's feeling good. They fell short last week. They could get it done here, though, on the road at Ohio State in the Horseshoe. If the Buckeyes aren't careful, they'll make it 2 straight losses. They better tighten up. And finally, the number 1 matchup of the weekend is number 1 Alabama, fresh off of a bye week at number 13 LSU. They fired Les Miles, probably unjustly. They've played some good football. All of a sudden now, those 2 losses that they had under Les Miles doesn't look that bad now. Now that these teams that they've lost to are actually really good football teams. That being said, they're at number 13. They're playing some of their best football of the season. Leonard Fournette is healthy and he's running well. They've got a shot. They've got a lot of pro prospects on that LSU team. This is a trap game for Alabama. If their eyes are wide open, they'll be fine. They'll navigate their way through this football game. But if they've got their eyes on something down the road like the Iron Bowl versus Auburn, they could easily fall into a bear trap here in LSU, and that those Tigers can really get them and steal this game and really shatter the hopes of Alabama this season. So that should be fun to watch. I fully expect Alabama to take care of business. But again, in these types of games where these teams are hungry, they know each other, they want it, look out for LSU. I've already heard trash talk back and forth. Players talking about we're going to win this game definitely and this, that, and the third. So LSU all very ultra confident right now. We're going to see if they're going to be able to back that up against the best team, clearly by miles, leaps and bounds right now, the best team in college football, the Alabama Crimson Tide. So that's our college corner. Let's move on to Louie Tee versus the world. So just to get to some of your comments quickly, RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 hashtag dog pound says, in your opinion, who are the top 3 corners in the 2017 draft class? Hard for me to say. You know, Tabor's up there. The kid from Michigan is up there. But I got to watch tape. You know, it's one thing when I'm just watching the college football games, and it's another thing when you're actually studying these players and watching their tendencies and the way they play the game. I'm not going to lie to you. When I'm watching college football, unless a guy just jumps out at me, I'm not generally watching individual players. I'm just watching the game as a casual fan of the game, observing and just watching. When I study, that's when I can give you in-depth analysis. I haven't done that, and I won't do that until the end of the season. Captain Spartan 04 says, funny fact of the day, Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson both have 22 passing touchdowns, but Lamar has 5 interceptions. Deshaun has 10. And that's why Lamar Jackson is going to win the Heisman Trophy. Simple as that. Andrew Kim says, if the Ravens lose to the Steelers, I'm going to consider the season to be over due to the AFC West is the best division and the Steelers most likely will win the AFC North and the Bengals rising. Hashtag. Check this out. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine today. And you know what he brought to my attention? He says, look, man, football is boring for me right now. He's a Raiders fan. He said, you know why football is boring for me right now? I said, why, man? He says, because in the AFC, it's already been decided. I said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He says, look at it. Look at the AFC. Look at the 6 teams in the playoff picture right now. You tell me which one of those teams is going to fall out and one of these other teams below them outside looking in is going to get in. And I looked at the teams, and right now, as it's currently constructed, it's the Patriots number 1 seed, Raiders number 2 seed, Broncos. You got the Texans obviously as a division winner in there, and the Steelers are in there. So 3-4 in there, and then you got the Chiefs and the Broncos. Broncos would be your 5th seed, Chiefs would be your 6th seed right now. Now, granted, everybody hasn't had their bye week, yada yada yada, so forth. But you look, the last team in there right now is at 5-2, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Look below them. You tell me one team that's going to make a push to knock one of those teams out of that playoff picture. If no one unseats the Pittsburgh Steelers, there isn't going to be. I told you I thought the AFC North was the worst division in football, so no one else is getting in. That's one of those one bid divisions. You win the division, you get in. You don't, you're not getting in. So if you don't unseat the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're not getting in the AFC as a wild card in the AFC North. Let's take a look at the AFC East. It's the Patriots and then nobody else. The Bills had an opportunity. They were playing hot football. They've lost 2 straight. I expect them to lose on Monday night to the Seattle Seahawks. That'll drop them underneath 500. The Jets are a joke, and the Miami Dolphins coming off a bye. They got one more week of potentially getting another win to get them back to 500. We'll see. This is where they usually puke all over themselves and show that they're not serious. But maybe they come off the bye, continue to do what they did well, which is run the football before the bye. Tannehill stays clean. Maybe they can get back to 500 at 4-4. We'll see. But right now, none of those teams seem like viable candidates to make the playoffs other than the Patriots. Then you go to the AFC West. I think 3 teams are making the playoffs from there. You got the Broncos, you got the Oakland Raiders, and of course, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. All 3 of those teams are making the playoffs. Because who else is going to take them out? Not the Chargers, not the Jets, not the Dolphins, not the Ravens, not the Bengals, not the Browns. So, and then you go to the South. Come on, be serious with yourself. Who wins that division is going to the playoffs. The rest of the teams, not. Tennessee's not going to the playoffs. I don't think they have enough yet. Don't think they're ready. Maybe a year away from really competing. The Texans, I think they're going to win the division. Colts had an opportunity. They're not good enough. And, of course, we know the Jacksonville Jaguars are just trying to get the season over so they can find out who their new head coach will be. So, bottom line is, the AFC picture, etched in stone. Now the question is, hey, where do these teams rank? Are the Raiders really going to be your number 2 seed in the AFC? Probably not. I don't see them winning that division. Okay? But they're going to be in the playoff race. They could be the 5th seed. They could be the 6th seed. But they're going to get in there. Kansas City Chiefs, where do they go? Do they win the division? Chiefs are good enough to win this division. They already beat Oakland in Oakland. They can beat Denver. We've seen them do it before. So they're capable of winning this division. Broncos can win that division. That's the really only division that we really don't know that's up for grabs. I think the Texans are going to win the South. I think the Steelers are going to win the North. And the Patriots are definitely winning the East. So the mix-up in the AFC playoff picture is the AFC West. We don't know where those teams are going to fall, but all 3 of those teams are making it. Is where you go to the NFC, you look at that conference, you're like, man, that thing is wide open. Anybody could win anything. You don't know nothing. The Minnesota Vikings could win their division. They could not win their division. We don't know. The Dallas Cowboys most likely going to win their division, but that's not etched in stone. It's got a lot of tough games on the road. They could implode. They could take Dak Prescott out, put Tony Romo in. Season could go awry. Who knows? Okay? The NFC East is anybody's guess as to what the hell is going to happen with the wild card, but you got a ton of teams playing solid football, all of them at 4-3 in some capacity. Redskins 4-3-1. So there's so much going on in that conference. You don't know what the hell's going on out west, except that the Seahawks are going to win that division. And the Arizona Cardinals, what the hell are they doing? Who are the L.A. Rams? You don't know. So the NFC is wide open. The NFC South is horrible right now, except for the Falcons. But then you look at the Saints, you're like, man, they're coming on. They're playing some defense. Who knows what they can do? Tampa Bay, they're suspect. Carolina, they're still trying to dig themselves out of a 1-5 hole that they started for themselves. NFC is wide open. AFC is picture perfect. So it's crazy right now. And so if your Ravens do lose to the Steelers, which I feel like they're going to, yes, I feel like the Steelers are going to run away with that thing. And they're going to win it anyway. So we'll see what happens. Let's keep going. Andrew Kim says, if the Chiefs do what they did last year, but the opposite, that would be great for teams looking in the AFC playoff picture. So I'm assuming you mean opposite as and start losing some games. They're not going to do that, though. But they got a different quarterback in there. We'll see, but I just don't see that happening. The Black Al Bundy says, hold on, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, I missed a bunch of stuff. Let me go back. All right. Okay, I skipped a bunch of stuff. Hold on. All right, here we go. Rarely even. My man Reed says, this is only Dirk Cutter's first year as a head coach, Lou. I think he's our best head coach since John Gruden. You may be right. You may be right. I told you, there's something missing there, something I can't put my finger on, but I'm not going to crucify the guy because I can't figure out what it is. And until I have tangible evidence that this guy isn't the right man for the job, I'm not going to kill him. But I'm just telling you, something seems off with Dirk Cutter. But we'll see. Captain Spartan 04 says, everyone wanting a Mike Tomlin coach. Of course you want him to do good against the bad teams. LOL. Mike Tomlin is awesome. I love Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the best head coaches in the league. I'm going to leave that at that. Sean Mack says, there isn't a number one wide receiver coming out of college. This is not a good draft this coming year. There's always a guy that turns out to be better than what we thought, like a Michael Thomas out of Ohio State. Nobody thought he was necessarily a number one receiver. He's come in and been that for the New Orleans Saints. There could be a guy like that comes out of nowhere, that plays some good ball and gets it done at the next level. Corey Davis is a guy out of oh, shucks. It's a smaller school, man. I can't remember. I don't know if that Washington receiver is a guy that's eligible, but I forgot his name, but he looks damn good. I mean, this guy is fast as hell. He's quick in and out of breaks. He looks legit, too. I mean, there's some guys in there. There's some players. You just don't know. You don't know. We'll see. Western Michigan, I think. I'm not sure. I don't want to lie to you. I think it's one of those weird teams, Western Michigan, Eastern something, Western something. I remember watching some tape on a guy that got drafted off that team. I want to say it was a tackle. And all I kept seeing was Corey Davis, winning on deep balls, making plays, high pointing the football. I'm like, who is this guy? So, yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys out there. We'll see. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Yeah, so Andrew Kim said Western Michigan. So I think that's where he goes. So I think he's a guy that could be a number one receiver. We'll see. I mean, you can never tell with receivers. You think you know, but you really don't know for sure. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 hashtag dog pound says, would you rather have Mark Buck fumble or Ryan Leaf as your fantasy if they were playing? You have to choose one. I would take Mark Sanchez. He's a turnover machine, but he can also throw you into a game as well. DG Production says, what do you think Florida Gators as far as strength and weaknesses, and what do they need to get up with their big boy Clemson, Bama, Michigan, etc.? First of all, they got to solidify the quarterback position. I like Luke Del Rio. Got to stay healthy. He's missed some games this year. That's number one. Availability is the best ability. Got to be there. I like him. I don't love him yet. So that's number one. Number two, you got to be able to be dynamic offensively. I just don't see that with them right now. They haven't had a dominant receiver since Percival Harvin and those days. Since Herb was there, matter of fact. I mean, when's the last time a really good wide receiver came out of Florida? I'm waiting. So you got to be more dynamic offensively. This is a team right now that is living off of their defense and have been for quite some time. They were strong up front with Bullard and all of those guys last year. And then, of course, you had Vernon Hargraves in the secondary, Keanu Neal, both of those guys went in the first round. This has been a defensive-oriented team, and that's fine. Got to be able to play defense in the SEC if you want to have any hopes of winning anything tangible, but you got to be able to score points too. And that's been their biggest issue. I like their running back position right now. I think that's the strength of their offense, but You got to be better at the receiver position. You got to have the guy at quarterback if you want to have a shot. And I think those are the things that they need to improve upon. They need more playmakers, guys that you can just get the football in their hands and they can make something happen, guys that can win on a deep ball. Don't think they've had that in quite some time in Florida. They just had guys out there, guys that have been getting suspended, guys that have been getting in trouble, guys that are talented, but you're like, he's talented, but there's always a but with Florida wide receivers and tight ends as well. I mean, when's the last time they had one of those? Aaron Hernandez? Like, they've got to upgrade their skill positions. That's why they're not as good on offense. You look at all of those teams you listed, Clemson, Bama, Michigan. What do they all have in common? They all have elite skill position players. You look at all of their tight ends are first-round caliber NFL tight ends. Every single one of those teams you just named, Bama, Michigan, and Clemson. All of them probably won't go in the first round, but they all have first-round talent at the tight end position. All of them have a receiver that is good enough to get it done. And if you don't like Michigan's receivers, I'm really not a huge fan of them, then you can just stick Jabril Peppers in at receiver and he'll do that too. So you just need those kind of players. They don't have them right now in Florida. Sean Mack says, what do you think is literally one step away from, what team do you think is literally one step away from being really good? Tell you what, there are a couple of teams in the league where you look at it and you say, man, you are A or B away from being nasty. I look at the Atlanta Falcons and I say, you are one dominant pass rusher away from being nasty. If they could get after teams after scoring some points with that secondary, stop it. Stop it. If they can stop teams up front with the way they score, stop it. You look at the Saints. The same can be said for them. If they could play some defense, and you said one step, so defensively, if they could take a huge step in New Orleans with Drew Brees, stop it. I mean, there's so many teams, but that's why this league is the way it is. It's so finite because I can say the same thing about the Chargers. Like, if you could just stop getting injured, play consistent football, you're one step away from being 7-1 right now, 8-0 potentially on the season. But they're not. They're 3-5. But they're one step away. So there are a number of teams, but if I had to pick one, I'd say the Falcons because of how explosive they are on offense, how well Matty Ice is playing, how good Julio Jones is, how many weapons Matt Ryan is spreading the football around to, how dominant that run game is when they're healthy, and how those backs can catch it out of the backfield. If they could get a semblance of defensive pressure up front consistently, Falcons would be a dangerous team. Smoking at 3, hashtag 1000, hashtag dog pound, hashtag 1716 MVP says, what is your top 3 6 rounds that is playing in the league right now? What is my top 3 what? 6 rounds that is playing in the league. I don't understand that question. Sean Mack says, proves how stupid coaches are now. How the hell do they keep getting jobs? It's just the way things go right now. Andrew Kim says, really sucks for Josh Rosen's season-ending injury. He wasn't playing that well to me before the injury. But yeah, anytime you miss a large chunk of a season, it is a problem. You don't want to see guys getting hurt. And it stunts his growth as a quarterback. For all the mistakes that I thought he was making, he could grow through those, sort of like a Christian Hackenberg, with time. Jameis Winston made some mistakes, but he never got injured. He got to play through those mistakes. And you hate to see guys get injured. Period. Especially at the quarterback position. Sean Mack says, no way in hell my Buckeyes should be 6. I have Louisville at 6 and my Buckeyes at 7. And that is close. And that is close. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I think because Penn State has been playing good football, the better Penn State plays, the better it is for Ohio State, the better that loss looks. If Penn State falls the hell apart, then that loss looks even worse, and then all of a sudden Ohio State's in trouble. But Penn State's ranked 12th in the nation now. If they continue to win, they beat Iowa, and they're going to continue to ascend. And then all of a sudden, that loss at Happy Valley doesn't look all that bad. But I agree. I think Louisville should be ahead of your Buckeyes. Andrew Kim says, I heard he might declare early this year, Luke Falk. I think his stock will never be higher. I'll tell you that much. He might be one of those guys who wants to play for a chip and come back next year, and that's all fine and dandy. But things can go south for you in a quick, fast, and a hurry manner. If you're hot, and he's hot right now, I would say, hey, push your chips to the middle of the table, cash those bad boys in if you win, and get out. He's dealt with some injuries this year too, so if you can get out, get the hell out of there while you can. Captain Spartan 04 says, supposedly Luke is staying. That's from Luke's parents. He may be staying. I told you, sometimes like Matt Leinart one year was hot, and he decided to go back to school. Andrew Luck was hot. He decided to go back to school. You know, Marcus Mariota was hot. Well, I don't know if Mariota could have come out or not. He might have been able to come out and went back to Oregon for one more year. So we've seen it happen before. It wouldn't be the first time. Definitely won't be the last either. Sean Mack says, my Buckeyes better get their O-line to pass block and wide receivers to get their hell open. I can see us losing by 2 touchdowns and Armstrong running all over us. Could happen. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, but it could. Captain Spartan 04 says, I'm pretty sure LSU just wanted to get rid of Les Miles. Yeah, they should have fired him in the offseason. If that's how you felt, don't have this man come out and get rid of him into the season. That was dumb to me. They wanted to get rid of him in the offseason, and the new AD didn't have the balls to do it. That's all it boiled down to. Sean Mack, heard a lot about Trubisky, Falk, and Rudolph. Do you think they're better suited for the NFL than Watson, Kaiser, and Jackson? I know Mason Rudolph is a big kid with a big arm. He looks the part, but he makes some mistakes where it makes you scratch your head. But I think he is more suited for an NFL pro-style offense, obviously. Falk, I think he has a little bit of the scrambling mentality, but also has a pocket passer mentality. But he's played in the spread offense at Washington State, so kind of hard to really assess how good he really is. I think I see him make NFL throws all the time. I was so impressed with him last year watching him on tape, watching some of their players that were coming into the league. That's why I got on the Falk train. Even though he plays in a spread offense, I see him throwing the tight windows. I see him making reads and going through progressions. I like him. With Trubisky, he's kind of small. He seems like he's got a little bit of the it factor, but I don't know about Trubisky. Something's off there. Like I don't buy him as a real threat. You know, he looks like a career backup to me. Doesn't look like a real. Looks like more like a Connor Cook type of guy where you're like, he's okay, but it's a backup. That's how I feel about Trubisky. What's up, Izzy? Let's see. Did I skip some comments? I feel like I just ran over some stuff that I didn't see previously. No, I didn't. If the Chiefs can do what they did last year, but the opposite, that would be great for teams looking in the AFC. I think we talked about that already. The Black Al Bundy says, is Cam making a big deal over nothing, or does he have a point about not getting calls? No, he has a point. Remember in week 1 versus Denver when he got his head nearly taken off like 3 times? Like they ended up finding like 2 or 3 different guys, huge chunks and lump sums of money for helmet-to-helmet shots on Cam, and he didn't get any of those calls in that game. It's not the first time. They treat Cam Newton like Shaq. Like, seriously. You know how Shaq's so big, guys slapping him on the arm, and he's getting harassed and fouled, and he didn't get calls when he was in his prime because he was so big. It's the same thing with Cam Newton. Because he's a scrambling quarterback, because he's so big and he's physical, he didn't get the calls that a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, or Phillip Rivers would get in the pocket. I mean, that guy literally nearly took and blew Cam's knee out. I've seen guys flagged for way less. He didn't get the flag. They talking about they didn't see it. Come on, man. There's an official standing right behind the quarterback watching to make sure if a quarterback gets hit, he's going to throw a flag. And you telling me you didn't see that as blatant as it was? Come on. Now, like I said, the reason no one wants to hear from Cam is when you're losing, you act like a little baby. So now that you won a game and you feel like you've been wrong, nobody wants to hear from you. So that's the only thing. Somebody else should be making this point for Cam, not Cam, because nobody wants to hear from him right now. But bottom line, the message that he's delivering is spot on, 110%. He doesn't get the same calls that other quarterbacks around the league get, and it's a shame. Captain Spartan 04 says, I still feel like someone is going to take Lamar's Heisman. No one is taking Lamar Jackson's Heisman Trophy. They're only inviting other guys just to fill seats. Okay? That is that man's Heisman Trophy to win. Trust me. Andrew Kim says, yeah, it's Western Michigan. And so that's where Corey Davis is currently playing, Western Michigan. And the tackle that I remember them having is, oh, man, where did he go? He was a left tackle for them, but I think he got drafted as like a right tackle or a guard. Forgot his name, but forgot where he went to. But I think he might be in Indy. I don't think he's in Indy. I don't know. But that's when I watched Corey Davis. Let's see. Who's the greatest college defensive end ever, in your opinion? It's hard to say, man. I'm not a huge college football fan like that, to be talking about guys that played in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, I would be remiss if I sat here and tried to name someone and forgot somebody that dominated in a decade earlier or something. Sean Mack says, you and I are thinking the same. The Falcons are so damn close. I think so, man. They are right there, I feel like. Tristan Brown says, what's your opinion on Jalen Hurts? Some guys are saying he could be the greatest freshman QB of all time. I don't think so. I still think he's got a long way to go. He's the best athlete Alabama's had at the quarterback position in quite some time. And the fact that he can throw the football gives them an added threat that they haven't really had. Blake Sims was the closest they had to a guy that could run and throw it, but nobody was really that afraid of Blake Sims. Jalen Hurts really poses a serious threat to a defense because of his legs and his ability to run, but not only do that, but also throw the football from the pocket. So he's got some developing to do, obviously, but all the skill set and traits are there. All right, with that being said, I'm going to kill this last question here from Andrew Kim, and then we're going to get to Louie Tee Live. Andrew Kim says, thoughts on Jalen Hurts transferring out of Tennessee? I don't really get this. I don't understand this. He's having a really disappointing season. And the kid that took his spot, essentially, is outstanding. That guy looks like he's got every bit of star in the making written all over him. Jalen Hurts just isn't all that good. Like, he's tall, he's slow, he's long. I mean, Jalen Hurts okay, but he doesn't have one thing. He's just big. He doesn't have one trait that necessarily stands out and catches your attention. I mean, he's solid. Nothing scary, though. I'm not a big fan of him doing this so late in his college career, too. Maybe he thinks, I'm getting a raw deal here. I got one more year to prove myself, and I'm not going to do it here at Tennessee, because he realized the guy in front of him is way better than he is. All right. So let's get to Louie Tee versus the world. So, man, it was another rough week for you, man. And as you can see up top, my season record, 6-6-1 last week. So at the Mendoza line, literally, last week. I thought I would be over. I thought the Vikings would win on Monday. They didn't. The Redskins should have won. That should have been a tie. Most of you had the Bengals. You should have gotten a loss there. I should have got a win. I didn't. But I'm not here to cry over spilt milk. Could have been a lot worse. I mean, let's run through these games quickly. I picked Tennessee over Jacksonville. That was one of my wins. Washington over Cincinnati. That was a tie. Atlanta over Green Bay. Could have went either way. That could have been a loss. I could have been under the Mendoza line, but I wasn't. They won, and so I got my 6th win there. New England. Knew they were going to beat Buffalo. I thought about that game long and hard, then I realized Shady McCoy probably not going to play. They're not going to win that game, and New England dominated. I picked Cleveland. I really felt good about that pick, man. And at halftime, I'm like, I got it. I finally figured out when they were going to get their win. I got it. And then I went and did a video live, and as I'm doing the video, I had somebody say, hey, because I said, I guarantee the Cleveland Browns aren't blowing this lead. Trust me. And Captain Spartan 04 says, hey, man, people going to stop trusting you. You start throwing stuff out there like this. I'm like, what is he talking about? And then I had another viewer of one of the live feeds I was doing at the time, because I wasn't watching the game at that moment, say, hey, you sure about these Browns holding on to the lead? And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This can't be good if everybody's telling me this. And sure enough, I went out there, and when I got back to resuming watching the game, they had blown the lead. They were down 21-20. Then it was 28-20. I said, you garbage bastards, you. Then it was 31-20. And at that point, I knew they had lost. So that was my first loss. Indy, at home versus Kansas City. That told me a lot about the Colts. They're not a good football team. They're going to win some games this season. They're going to win 7 games, 8 at the most, but they're not good enough. They lost at home to a team that lost Alex Smith twice and brought in Nicholas Foles and let Nicholas Foles dice them up. Seattle, I just went with the defensive team in that game. I didn't think the Saints would play enough defense, but they did, surprisingly enough, and they stole that game. Good win for the Saints, bad loss for me. Seattle didn't get it done. Tampa Bay, I thought they had a shot, and they should have won that game. The Raiders gave them ample opportunities to win, and they just simply didn't want it. They didn't get the job done. That's my 4th loss. Houston won against Detroit. Figured they would. They took care of business. Denver won versus San Diego. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. Arizona lost to Carolina. I thought, okay, Carolina coming off a bye. Arizona coming off of a dominant defensive performance. I think they can extrapolate that over the next game and get a win on the road. I was wrong. I should have picked Carolina. I second-guessed myself. I thought Carolina initially. I went back with Arizona, and I paid for it. Dallas getting it done against Philadelphia for the longest time. That looked like a loss. And frankly, I would have been okay with that because I wanted Dallas to be closer in the division. I wanted the division to come together and be a little bit closer. Dallas took care of business, came back and won in overtime, go to 6-1, big win for them. I get a win, so it's okay. And then Minnesota on Monday Night Football, not getting the win, drops me to 6-1. That was a surprise to just about everybody. Some of you picked Chicago, which is a surprise to me because who saw that coming? You couldn't have saw that coming. That was just a guess. You were just throwing that out there. But I guess after how poorly Minnesota showed in the game the week prior against Philadelphia, you thought, well, maybe, just maybe the Bears can get these guys with Jay Cutler coming back into the lineup. And that proved to be the case. So 6-6 and 1. So with that being said, let's jump into your picks and see what you guys did in week number 8 in the National Football League. So let's get to your picks. And we start with Nick Riley. My man Nick has the Titans winning, Vikings, that's 1. Bengals, that's a tie, obviously, so we're just going to leave that game out of there for this exercise. Patriots, Jets, Lions, that's 2. Chiefs, Seahawks, that's 3. Raiders, Cardinals, that's 4. Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys. He says, man, I want to pick the Chargers and Eagles, but I can't do it. It's a trap game this week. Good thing you didn't because you would have lost both of those games. So let's quickly go back through his picks. Titans, Vikings, Bengals. Vikings, that's 1. Patriots, Jets, Lions, that's 2. Chiefs, Seahawks, 3. Raiders, Cardinals, 4. Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys. So 4 losses for him, which puts him at, we had 13 games this week, 1 tie, 8-4. Not bad at all. Week 8 picks from my man, A.K. Andrew Kim. Titans, Bengals, Pats, Jets, Lions, 1. Chiefs, Raiders, Seahawks, 2. Cards, 3. Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, Vikings, 4. So let me go through these again. For some reason, I'm losing track of my wins and losses. And tonight, I got my pen, and I got a pad in front of me just in case some cats hit the upper room this week. I'm going to be able to jot down their totals because last week I left the man out. Let me go ahead and give him credit here. My man, Something Smith, and it's going to come up here. I had to install him and insert him into the Wall of Fame. Last week I said it was 4 people that went to the upper room, and then I only counted 3, and I told you I felt it was 4, but I couldn't think of the last person. And my man, Robbie Sohal, got on me. He was like, yo, you better give my man some love. All right, that was his first time coming in to Louie Tee Live, and Ryan Smith is his name. And as you see him scrolling up and down the screen right now, he came in and blessed us. Dropped a 10-4 dime on our skulls last week, or 10-3. Either way, he was outstanding. And so, got to give that man some credit. So, Andrew Kim, quickly again. Titans, Bengals, Pats, Jets, Lions, 1. Chiefs, Raiders, Seahawks, 2. Cards, 3. Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, 4. So, he went 8-4 and 1. So, for this exercise, 8-4. Okay? Sean Mack says, here are my Week 8 picks. Titans, Bengals, Raiders, Seahawks, 1. Texans, Jets, Patriots, Cardinals, 2. Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, Vikings, 3. 9-3. Just missed out on the upper room with his picks. If the Vikings had gotten it done, he would have been at 10-2-1. That would have been impressive. I told you, I don't expect anybody to hit the upper room this week, but I'm pretty sure somebody's going to pick some off-the-wall nonsense and get there. So we're going to see. Titans. So this is Tristan Brown. He says, week 8 picks. Interesting to see how this goes with only 13 games. I did pretty good last week. Let's see how it goes this week. Well, let's find out, Tristan. Let's find out together. Titans, Bengals. He says, sorry, Louie, got to go with Cincy. It's all good, man. Nobody won. Patriots, if McCoy was healthy, Bills would have it. I thought about that, but I don't even know if he would have made a difference in this game. Jets, very close game. Sean's team could pull the upset. LMAO. He was right. Close, but no cigar. So no losses in those picks. But then Lions 1, Chiefs, Seahawks 2, Raiders, Cardinals 3, Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, Vikings 4. So like everybody else, 8-4 thus far for Tristan Brown. Vlasic, who did it well last week, if I'm not mistaken, Vlasic was in the upper room last week with double digits. It's scrolling across the Wall of Fame right now. I'm going to take a peek at that in a second, but I believe Vlasic was in, first name on the week 7 double digits list. So let's see how he followed up his double digit week. Start off bad, Jaguars. He says Bengals. He says, I'll take one for the team. He's a Redskin fan, and it didn't work. Almost worked, didn't work. Cardinals 2, Patriots, Jets, Texans, Chiefs, Seahawks 3, Bucks 4, Broncos, Packers 5, Vikings 6. So 6-6-1. And he said, add the Cowboys in there. Cowboys got it done. So 6-6-1 for Vlasic after having a stellar week the week prior. Big Blue View comes in with the Titans, Bengals, Cards 1, Texans, Seahawks 2, Chiefs, Jets, Pats, Raiders, Broncos, Packers 3, Vikings 4, Cowboys. So 8-4 for Big Blue View. Cubone football, the man sitting in the throne, the king of the throne. Let's see what he did this week. Titans, Bengals, Patriots, Browns 1, Houston, Kansas City, Seattle 2, Oakland, Arizona 3, Denver, Atlanta, Dallas, Minnesota 4, 8-4. That's going to be probably the trendy record this week is 8-4. BE, my man Brian Emerson goes Titans, Bengals, Patriots, Cards 1, Jets, Lions 2, Colts 3, Saints. Ooh, good pick. Saints, Raiders, Denver, Falcons, Dallas, Vikings 4. So 8-4 for BE as well. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 8-4 for BE. My man Brown Shoe T2, Titans, Bengals, Cards 1, Lions 2, Seahawks 3, Chiefs, Jets, Patriots, Bucks 4, Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, Vikings 5. So 7-5 for Brown Shoe T2. Luis Manzazari says, hey, Lou, can I join y'all this week and give my picks for the week? Absolutely. You don't even have to ask, bruh. Just drop your picks in here like you did, man. You ain't got to ask permission. This is open season, baby. Drop them picks in there and walk away. You got Titans, Bengals, Seahawks 1, Panthers, Raiders, Chiefs, Bills 2, Jets, Lions 3, Broncos, Falcons, Eagles 4, Vikings 5 for Luis Manzazari. Archangel says, okay, ready or not, here I come, world. Gotta get back to the upper room. There's a cold bottle of champagne on the rocks just waiting for me. Okay, so this man is making plans to get in the upper room. So let's see if he made it. Cincy, tough one, he says. Tennessee, Atlanta. What the hell is ME? Oh, he probably meant any for the Patriots. Jets, Kansas City, Seattle, that's 1. He said kind of tough. Oakland, very tough, but he got it done. Denver, kind of tough. He said House changed this pick last minute to Carolina, going out on a limb, but I still think they lose. But they got it right, so he's good there. Cowgirls in Minnesota, damn, they right pissed me off. He said, damn right, they pissed, and right now, the Bears are in the way. I thought the same thing, and the Bears they actually were the ones doing the ass whooping in that game. So let's go back here and check because it sounds like he might have hit the upper room again. Cincy, Tennessee, Atlanta, New England, Jets, Kansas City, Seattle, that's one. Oakland, Denver, Carolina, Minnesota, shoot, 2 losses. But did he pick every game? Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Looks like he missed a game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know what the hell House is, but he says change this pick last minute. And then he put Carolina afterwards. Going out on a limb, but I still hope they lose. Who the hell is House? That's probably, he meant to pick a team there, but I don't know what the hell that is. So I'm going to dock him for that. But it's still 10-3. Whoa, wait. That's 9-3-1, man. Damn, I'm about to say, Archangel, get up in there, man. Go get that bottle you had on the rocks of champagne. But no, not quite. My man Sean Hawk says 6-8-1 last week. Louie Tee, DG Productions, and I were in the woods, dead of the night, chilling by the fire. But you don't realize it. It was an old Indian reservation, and spirits arose from the dark, doing a war dance as we put paint and prepare for war. Chants come echoing from the woods. No more dunce cap. No more below the Mendoza line. No more below the Mendoza line. Only double digits. Cubone's rule over the throne will be no more. So that epic epilogue precedes these picks. Let's see if he backed it up with some hot fire, like that fire we were sitting around last week down below. Titans, Redskins, Patriots, Panthers, Jets, Lions 1, Colts 2, Seahawks 3, Raiders, Chargers 4, Falcons, Cowboys, Vikings 5. Not bad, but not great. 7-5 for my man Sean Hawk. Carmen Rana last week in the double digits upper room again, and he's been hot this year. Has Carmen Rana. Bengals, Titans, Seahawks 1, Patriots, Jets, Texans, Colts 2, Bucks 3, Panthers, Broncos, Packers 4, Vikings, Cowboys, that's 5. So 7-5 for Carmen Rana. The Black Al Bundy says the upper room's about to get its newest member. Here we go. He picked the Jags. That is not a good start, brah. Bengals, Cards, that's 2. Lions, 3. Seahawks, 4. Chiefs, Jets, Pats, Raiders, Broncos, Packers, 5. Cowboys, Vikings, 6. 6-6 on this pick at the Mendoza line with me and one other. Eduardo O'Neal. All right. Tough week. Week 8, he says. Titans, Bengals, Colts 1, Raiders, Seahawks 2, Cardinals 3, Lions 4, Patriots, Browns 5, Broncos, Packers 6, Cowboys, Vikings 7. So Eduardo O'Neal, our first dunce cap participant or entry this week below the Mendoza line at 5-7-1 or 5-7. So Eduardo O'Neal down there below. It's dark, it's dirty, it's nasty, it's wet. Good luck. Hopefully you get some company. At least it won't be me this week. Money Miz 14 says, this week is no joke. NFL Week 8 winners. Titans, Bengals, Panthers, Lions 1, Seahawks 2, Chiefs, Jets, Patriots, Bucks 3, Chargers 4, Falcons, Eagles 5, Vikings 6. So Money Miz said it was no joke, and it proved to be no joke as he went 6-6, barely getting to the Mendoza line. RWF 1984. Jags 1, Bengals, Patriots, Cards 2, Jets, Lions 3, Chiefs, Seahawks 4, Raiders, Chargers 5, Falcons, Eagles 6, Vikings 7. Let's see if I can finally stop drowning below. No, brother, you can't. I will throw you down a life-saving device. Use it wisely as you are now down below with Eduardo O'Neal at 5-7 below the Mendoza line. Yikes. Told you you'd get some company. It's a nasty week. And if you went out on a limb, you picked the Browns, you thought the Eagles could come up big for you, Vikings let everybody down. It could be a rough week for you, man. So, Yeah, it's that kind of week. Week 8. Teddy Roachless sends the following. Titans, Redskins, Chiefs, Raiders, Saints. Ooh, Saints won. Texans, Jets. Wait a minute. We might have our first upper room participant. This is looking really tasty right now. Titans, Redskins, Chiefs, Raiders, Saints, Texans, Jets, Patriots, Cardinals won. Broncos, Falcons, Eagles, Vikings. Damn it, the Eagles got him. That'll put him at 9-3 this week. Teddy Roachless just missing out at 9-3. Robbie Sohal. See what we got. Titans were his sole survivor, and I'm going to send you your money tomorrow, Robbie. Tomorrow, buddy, if you're watching. Your money will be in your PayPal account tomorrow. Titans, survivor pick. And congratulations again for winning the 4th annual Louie Tee Network in the lab room sole survivor pool. Titans, Bengals, Cardinals 1, Texans, Saints, Colts 2, Browns 3, Patriots, Raiders, Broncos. He says dicey 1, but they got it done. Falcons, Cowboys, Bears upset special. Man, did that one hit big. It would have been nice if that one would have been the one to put you in the upper room, but the Browns pretty much did you in there. Colts, Browns, and Cardinals were your 3 losses, which puts Robbie Sohal, who went out on a limb with the Browns as an upset special, or excuse me, the Bears as an upset special, and they got it done. Still fell short of the upper room at 9-3. I told y'all last week I didn't think anybody would make it. And right now, Archangel was the closest, but he left off a pick that kept him out. Protect428 says Broncos, Skins, Titans, Raiders, Cowboys, Vikes 1, Packers 2, Chiefs, Seahawks 3, Pats, Texans, Browns 4, Cards 5. He says, I'm hoping for 8-5. It'll be tough to get double digits since there's only 13 games on this week's slate. Best of luck to everyone with this week's picks. And he was spot on, and he got 8 wins. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough. Or he got 7 wins, excuse me. He had 5 losses, 7-5 with that tie. So 7-5 for Protect428. Zach Randolph says week 8 picks. Titans, Redskins, Cardinals 1, Lions 2, Seahawks 3, Chiefs, Browns 4, Patriots, Bucks 5, Broncos, Falcons, Eagles 6, Vikings 7. Let's go over those quickly again. Titans, Redskins, Cardinals 1, Lions 2, Seahawks 3, Browns 4, Bucks 5, Eagles 6, Vikings 7. You got more company. Let's go ahead, toss him out of here like DJ Jazzy Jeff in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That man's falling. And he's down there with Eduardo O'Neill and RWF 1984 and company. So we go next to Frank Kaminsky. He says, week 8 picks. Hopefully I don't take the L again. We'll see. Let's find out. Titans, Redskins, Panthers, Lions 1, Seahawks 2, Chiefs, Jets, Pats, Raiders, Chargers 3, Falcons, Cowboys, Vikings 4. Not bad, but 8-4 still not good enough to get in the upper room. Day Co. In his week 8 picks, Jags off to a bad start. Bengals, Raiders, Panthers. He said the last stand with my boys. They got it done for you. So you don't have to give up on them yet. Chiefs, Seahawks 2, Lions 3, Patriots, Jets, Denver, Packers 4, Eagles 5, Vikings 6. Come have a seat next to me on this Mendoza bench over here at 6-6. DG Production says, I got a rope. Time to get us out of here. Come on, Louie. Let's go. All right, man. I'm right behind you. I didn't get out by much, but I got out. I climbed over. I fell on the ground. I said, I'm never going back down there again. Hey, DG, you with me? DG, I'm calling you. I'm calling your name. Are you going to answer me? Or did you fall back down that rope? We're going to find out. Sean Hawk got out, but barely. But he got out. Let's see. I got a rope. Time to get us out of here. Come on, Louie. Let's go. Let's see. Titans, Chiefs, Cardinals 1, Raiders, Seahawks 2, Lions 3, Pats, Jets, Chargers 4, Packers 5, Cowboys, Vikings 6. You got out with me, buddy. Come on, DG. DG, you with me? DG! Yeah, I made it. I'm here. We got out. Woo! Hey, we got out alive, DG. Sean, we got out, baby. We made it up. We got some other chumps down there this week, man. We made it out. Even if barely, we got out of there. Caleb Hazard, Jags 1, Bengals, Cardinals 2, Lions 3, Seahawks 4, Chiefs, Jets, Patriots, Raiders, Broncos, Falcons, Vikings, Cowboys 5. So 75 for Caleb Hazard. DB 88243. Titans, Bengals, Texans, Cards 1, Hawks 2, Chiefs, Jets, Raiders, Patriots, Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, Vikings 3. So another guy that got bitten by the Vikings would have been in the upper room. Number of you would have been in the upper room if the Vikings would have took care of business. Instead, 9-3 is the fate for DB 88243. Anal Probe 9000 says, better week right here. Picks, Titans, Skins. I really don't want to go into the bye at 500, and we didn't. We tied. Lions 1, Panthers. He says, oh boy, they got it done. Don't worry. Seahawks 2, Chiefs, Pats, Jets, Raiders, Broncos, Falcons. He says, toss up. Both bad D's, but the Falcons did get it done. Eagle says, family business. Time for a healthy reality check for them boys. It looked like it for about 3.5 quarters. Then them boys woke up and stole that game. That's 3. Vikings 4. He almost made it. Last 2 picks did him in. HTTR. Salute to you, brother, as well. So 8-4 for Anal Probe 9000. Ryan Smith says, a little late on Thursday, but we all know the Titans got this one, especially after I was dumb enough to pick the Jags last week. Oh, yeah, I'm in the penthouse. You made it last week, but your comment actually made it in. Well, I'll cut you a break, but your comment actually got in kind of late, but you got in before my comment, so I will cut you some slack, give you the Titans. Anyway, Bengals, Chiefs, Bucks 1, Saints, Lions 2, Browns 3, Patriots, Cardinals 4, Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, Bears. Wow, him and Robbie on that Bears train. 8-4 for Ryan Smith. Let's go over them one more time just to make sure. Titans, Bengals, Chiefs, Bucks 1, Saints, Lions 2, Browns 3, Patriots, Cardinals 4, Broncos, Falcons, Cowboys, Bears. So 8-4 and 1, 8-4 for Ryan Smith. Another solid week for Ryan Smith. His first 2 weeks coming in and really representing here on Louie Tee Live versus the world. Sid K says, all right, man, Vlad the man here. Shout out to Robbie and Ryan Smith for the Homeland for showing me this page. I appreciate you guys spreading the love. Here are my picks for the week. Bengals, Cardinals 1, Lions 2, Chiefs, Jets, Patriots, Raiders, Saints in the upset, Chargers 3, Falcons, Eagles 4, Vikings 5. Let's read them again, make sure. Cardinals, Lions 1, 2, Chiefs, Jets, Patriots, Raiders, Saints in the upset. Big pick there. Chargers 3, Falcons, Eagles 4, Vikings 5, 7, and 5 for Sid K, or AKA Vlad the man, he says. So those are our week 8 picks. Nobody, I repeat, no one made it to the upper room this week. And I told you that would be the case this week. I thought that it would be a tough week to get double-digit wins. It's just that type of week. I knew it would be tough. It's 13 games. It's 13 games again this week. So you're going to have to be special in order to get 10 wins. I don't think this week is as hard as last week, but 1 or 2 games will be the difference between somebody being 9-3 or 9-4 and 10-3. I don't anticipate another tie this week, canceling people out. But nonetheless, 13 games, you got to be really clean in order to get double digits and get in the upper room. So up there is pretty, the door's locked. It's a chain lock, and nobody had the key this week. No music, no food, no beverages. All of that stuff stays on ice for next week. Hopefully somebody's able to go in there, restock, get everything nice and full, and have some fun next week. So the room's dark. Nobody's in there. No music, no nothing. Pretty peaceful up there, man. A lot of people knocking on the door. You keep on knocking, but you can't come in. 9-3 wasn't good enough this week. There's a number of you guys, too, just missing out. If the Vikings win on Monday Night Football, there would have been a host of you up there having a party. I'm talking about really living the life. Instead, you get a tie and a Vikings loss, and everybody's on the outside looking in. So, let's go back to your comments. And, wow, the Indians tied it up after trailing 5-1. Let's see how that goes. I'm late, too. I'm really late. You guys posted that before I went to reading off your picks. So let's see. All right. see where we are. Let's 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 see where we are. Here we go. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 hashtag dog pound 1716 says the 49ers and the 79ers are the same. I don't know what that means, but if it means the 49ers are bad, then yes, that is correct. Are the 79ers that one of those D-League basketball teams? Because if it is, then maybe they are the same. Blackbird Blitz says, I know you said the Cowboys are the best team in the NFC, and their record shows that. That I said I think the Falcons dominate them in the playoffs. We'll see. A lot of football left to be played. Who knows? You might end up with the best record in the conference when it's all said and done. We'll see. A lot of football left to be played. Andrew Kim says, Willie Beavers to the Vikings. There you go. Willie Beavers was who I was watching on tape. Couldn't remember who took him. It was the Vikings. Let's see. Captain Spartan 4 says, you've also seen Corey Davis when watching Daniel Braverman. Exactly. Slot guy went to the Chicago Bears. The tackle Willie Beavers went to Minnesota. Draft/college geek. Captain Spartan 04 is spot on. That's where I saw Corey Davis last year, watching Daniel Braverman and Willie Beavers tape. Couldn't help but see Corey Davis stick out over and over and over again. Sean Mack says, is this the second week in a row you got to wear the dunce cap hat, bro? Not this week. I escaped. I didn't, you know what? I didn't really feel like I was going to need the dunce cap this week because I thought 500 would be good enough and that there would be some people that fell under the Mendoza line, unfortunately. So I never was worried. I didn't even bring the dunce cap out this week because I didn't expect to have to don that. So, I wasn't really worried, man. Not this week. Sean Mack says, you told me that, bro. You told me my Browns would blow it, bro. LOL. I thought they were going to win. So, somebody else told you that. I didn't tell you that. I thought they were going to win. Blackbird Blitz says, did I not tell you how nice Louie Tee is? If you don't let him win, if Louie wins, he's all in. God help us all if that happens. I'm telling you, when I get back on top, y'all going to know it. Trust and believe that. Okay? Trust and believe that. I'm coming too. I'm coming with a barrage. When I get hot, y'all are in trouble. I'm telling y'all right now. Disco Jump Rope says, where do you put the pics at? Even though you didn't leave the hashtag. Somebody help that man out. Just so you know, you got two ways you can do it. You can go to my Facebook page in the lab room and go to the play game tab. It's going to say play game. Click on that. It'll take you straight to my discussion page on YouTube. You put it in the comment section. Put your pics there. You got to do it before Thursday night football starts or else you'll get docked a game for that. Or you can put your pics on my discussion page by just going to my YouTube channel, Louie Tee Network, and hit the tab that says discussion. It'll take you to my discussion page where you'll see all of the comments. Put yours in the comment section there, and I will get it. See, Archangel says, my keyboard on my phone be spelling for me, but that house was Houston. Oh. Okay. I'm sorry. I want to give you credit for that. I really do. Because it makes sense. And if so, that would put you in the upper room this week. Because I think that would put you at 10-2-1. So, let me go back to your picks. Because I don't want to jerk you. If you're the only one in there dancing, I will give you the key to unlock the padlock that is currently on the upper room's door. And you can let yourself in, man. It's never fun when you by yourself. But it's always great when you know you got all that champagne and all the stuff you can want in that room for yourself. You can invite a couple of honeys up there and do whatever you want to do because you don't got nobody else clocking you. So let's check and see, man. Something for the honeys. We're going to see if you got something for the honeys, man. Let me go back here because I'm not mistaken. That was 10-2-1. I had to dock you because I didn't know what the hell house was. But if it's Houston, that makes sense. So, let's see. Damn, I can't even find you now. Let me scroll back down again. See if I can find this real quick. I know it's here because I saw it. And there it is. Okay. Cincy, that's 1. Tennessee 2. Atlanta 3. New England 4. Jets 5. Kansas City 6, Seattle 7, Oakland 8, Denver 9, Houston 10, Carolina 11, Cowgirls and Mini. So that's 13 picks. So you got all your picks. So can't dock you there. So now let's go through them once again and see if you got enough to get in. Cincy, Tennessee, Atlanta, New England, Jets, Kansas City, Seattle 1, Oakland, Denver, Houston, Carolina, Dallas, Minnesota 2. So, yes, you are in. Here's your key to the upper room. Go have yourself a ball, man. Do what you want. Hey, no stains. You know what kind of stains I'm talking about. No stains on the furniture upstairs, man. Keep it nice and clean. All right? Here's the key. Go have some fun, man. Do whatever the hell. You can do whatever you like. Yeah? So only one winner this week. One winner. Archangel, congratulations. 10-2-1 for Archangel. He's getting his name on the Wall of Fame. I thought I was going to have to skip the Wall of Fame this week. Archangel stepping up and getting it done. Congratulations. Y'all congratulate Archangel for being the only one to step into the upper room this week. It was dark up there. I didn't think anybody was getting in. Archangels. He's gotten in there, man. Congratulations. Congratulations to Archangels. Great job, man. I want that Wall of Fame, bro. LOL. You close. You were close. You was close, Sean Mack. Andrew Kim says, at this point, I'm just winning just to stay away from the Mendoza line, but double-digit win streak is coming. I believe you, man. I feel the same way about myself. Y'all give it up for my man Archangel. Double A is going up to the upper room. I told you already. Keep it clean. You know what I'm talking about. No stains on any of the furniture, man. Do what you like, though, man. Have fun. Have a ball up there, dude. Have a ball. Izzy L says Raiders will get 10 wins this season. I think you might be right about that. We're going to see. I think you might be right about that. Andrew Kim says, type hashtag Louie T Live if you want Louie to read your comment. Yes. If you're out there and you want your comment read, use the hashtag Louie T Live. Izzy L says the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Vikings, the Giants, those are my picks. You got to leave your picks in the comment section. Let's see. See what we got. All right. Let's see what else we got. Andrew Kemp. Okay, I already read that. Thanks, bro. No doubt, Archangel. You deserve it, man. You put in the picks, not me. Your phone went off on you and put all kinds of nonsense in. It put me. It put house, but I know what you meant. I just didn't know what that Houston pick was. But, hey, yo. Archangel going up to the upper room. Y'all give it up for that, man. He held it down this week. The only member. Let's go ahead. First of all, let's put that man in the winner's circle, everybody. Archangel winner's circle for Louie T Live in week 8. The only person to venture up into the upper room this week. Give that man some love. Great job. I didn't think 10 wins was achievable, especially with the teams that didn't get it done like Minnesota and having a tie, but you still found a way to get it done. Congratulations again to Archangel. That being said, let's go ahead and put this man's name in the Wall of Fame. He deserves it. So let's get him in there. Great job again by my man, Archangel, getting in where he fit in on the Louie T Live Wall of Fame. Now we just got to line it up, make it look nice and pretty. And Archangel's name will be all forever etched in the annals of the Louie T Live Wall of Fame. That looks good right there. Right there. That's perfect. Week 8, Archangel. Looks good to me. I want to see it one more time. Make sure it's nice and centered. All right. Let's see what we got now. And then after this, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. And we'll get out of here. I'll give you my picks and let y'all finish watching the World Series. I think y'all told me they're on a rain delay right now, so that'll be perfect time to let you guys get back to that Game 7 of the World Series. See if Archangel's name looks right now. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. There we go. Archangel, Wall of Fame. Congratulations again. That being said, thank you guys for joining me tonight on the show. I had to gut this one out. I'm really tired. Been a long week for me, but things are looking up and up. Like the upper room where Archangel is currently throwing it down, if you know what I mean. So, you guys got to be better. We got to be better, man. We all got to be better. The upper room is the goal, but the ultimate goal is the King of the Throne, which Cubone has been manning up since like week 4. We got to get that man out of that chair. I want to be the one to do it, but at this point now I'm like, somebody get that man. He is too damn comfortable. He's got his feet up. He's got a little pimp cane. He is too comfortable. He got 2 girls behind him feeding them grapes. This man is way too comfortable. We got to get him out of that throne, man. We got to get him out of that seat. Somebody take this man out of the chair. I don't really give a damn who it is at this point. I want to be the man to do the job, but at some point, it's enough is enough. Somebody's got to get that man. He's too down. He over there eating the grape. Eating grapes. They feeding them grapes, man. I'm disgusted now. That should be me. So, at the end of the day, I thank every single one of you guys for watching, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and checking your man Louie Tee out on these Wednesdays. This show is so much fun. Brings me relief when I'm not feeling good about something. You guys are always an outlet and event for me, and I really appreciate that. Thank you guys for joining me again tonight. And it's going down next week. Big boy football next week, and I expect to be a lot better next week. So without any further ado, I give to you my week number 9 picks here on Louie Tee Live. Again, for all of you guys who watch, thank you. God bless and good night. Enjoy my picks. Make sure you drop yours where they belong on my discussion page on the Louie Tee Network. Until next time, I'm your man Louie Tee. We're changing the game one live feed at a time. This is your man Louie Tee signing off for Louie Tee Live. See you next time. Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie Tee? Welcome to Louie Tee versus the world. Now, doing a little different this week, and this is something I'm trying out. Look, I'm just being lazy, frankly. I'm tired of using the green screen and going through the editing process. This live thing is where it's at. And so, I just cut down on, time and efficiency and all that stuff. I don't feel like doing all of that extra stuff anymore. So I'm doing it like this. And last week was another tough week for the good guy, man. 6-1. Couple of losses in there that, frankly, didn't see coming. Obviously, the tie really hurt because a lot of you guys picked Cincinnati. You got away with one there. Should have been a loss for you. Should have been a win for me. But, it is what it is. Another tough week for me. But I did not sink below the Mendoza line this week, thankfully. I thought I would be over it. I thought Minnesota would win on Monday, and they didn't. So here I am. And another week, another disappointing effort. And I told you I thought this was going to be a tough week. Some of you came out smelling like roses, man. You had a really good go of it. That's good for you. It was a tough week for me because I'm still figuring out who's good and who's not, who's going to win, who won't. We pretty much know who is who. But what happens when 2 meh teams play each other? What happens when 2 evenly teams play each other at a neutral site like Cincinnati and Washington? What happens when family business takes place and you're on the wrong side of it and you think you're on the right side? These things happen. Dallas, Philadelphia, family business. Take your pick. Minnesota, Chicago, Vikings should win, right? Right? Wrong. Family business. Try again. Could have got. Maybe you were one of the ones thought Jacksonville, maybe, just maybe Jacksonville could get it done on Thursday night. Nah, you shouldn't have. But maybe you did. It was family business. Who knows? After you watch Brock Osweiler throw up all over himself 3 or 4 times this season, maybe you thought, well, Detroit's on a 3-game win streak. They should go into Houston and win. Wrong. Texans haven't lost at home all season long. Who knew? So, in any event, 6-1 is what I did last week. This is going to be a much better week. I guarantee it. And I've pretty much solved the riddle and the puzzle. And again, nothing is certain. There are no finalities. There are no guarantees in the National Football League. It's a week-to-week league. I tell you this every week. And I think Monday Night Football, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears epitomize that to a T. So here I am, week 9, and I still haven't had that one breakout performance, that 1 week where I can point to and say, man, I was special that week. I've got one of those every year, 14-2, 13-3, 12-2. I've got one of those every year under my belt. I haven't had that week yet. No Redskins this week, so I don't feel obligated to pick my boys even when I think they may or may not lose. I don't have that kind of pressure on me today. So why don't I just go out and blaze these picks without the Redskins playing? Sounds like a plan to me. Let's do it then. So we start on Thursday night. Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs have won the last 3 games versus the Falcons. And they don't look like a good football team, frankly. But doesn't matter when it's family business, as you found that out last week. And they're at home, short week. Why not, right? Because the Falcons are much better this time around. They got them in week 1. Falcons, you thought, maybe they were okay. Maybe they weren't. You didn't know what Falcons team was going to show up this year. And that game gave you a little bit more reason to pause on the Falcons. But they've picked it up since then. And I think they're at 2 different points of their season. Falcons are starting to hit their stride. They know who they are as a football team. Still trying to figure some things out defensively, but offensively, they're one of the best in the league. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay doesn't know anything on offense or defense. They don't know if they're coming or going. No Doug Martin, no number 2 receiver opposite of Mikey. This smells like a defeat. Give me the Falcons on the road. Dallas at Cleveland, no brainer. I'm not picking the Browns any more this season. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, no Alex Smith, no problem. A-OK, that's right. They've got a backup that can get them through the Jaguars in Nicholas Foles. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs to take care of business in week number 9. Miami Dolphins at home versus the New York Jets. I don't believe in the Jets. I don't believe in the Dolphins. And it's family business. And the Jets are coming off a bye, or the Dolphins are coming off a bye. And I probably should go with the team coming off the bye. And I'm going to do that. Give me the Dolphins at home. If Jay Ajayi rushes for 200 yards, they'll win the game. Minnesota Vikings at home versus the Detroit Lions. 2 straight losses for the Minnesota Vikings. The sky is falling. They've gotten rid of their offensive coordinator, or he resigned. You call it what you want. No more Norv Turner. Pat Shurmur's taking over. Guess what? I don't care. Okay, honestly, this team is all about defense. If they dominate on that side of football, everything else will take care of itself. They're going to get back on track. You know who else started out the season undefeated and then lost 2 games in a row? The Denver Broncos. You know what the Denver Broncos are right now? They're 6-2. Started season 4-0, lost 2 straight. Now they've won 2 straight. It's fine. The Vikings are fine. Yes, that offensive line is horrible. They'll be fine. Give me the Vikings at home. Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. Generally, in this series, the Eagles dominate. I don't think the Giants are a very good football team. We're going to find out if the bye week helped the Giants figure some things out. I'm not going to be one to subscribe to that theory. Give me the Eagles in this football game. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. Good old-fashioned AFC North family business. This is going to be a drag down, knockout, slobber knocker, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't like the Ravens at all. Seems like Ben's going to play. If he doesn't, I still think the Steelers got a shot to win this game. That's how little I think of the Ravens. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. Carolina Panthers at the Los Angeles Rams. I struggle with this game. Frankly, I think the Rams can win this game. Coming off of a bye, and teams haven't been really good after byes this season, but coming off a bye, getting some of their players back healthy, they should be able to chase Cam Newton around and hit him and affect him in this game. But I don't trust Case Keenum. The last time I saw these boys, I picked the Rams to win. And Case Keenum promptly threw 4 interceptions and cost me a chance at winning. So, I'm picking the Carolina Panthers in this game. New Orleans Saints at the San Francisco 49ers. Another team struggling, coming off of a bye that I don't trust. Saints, they can score points with the best of them. Defense seems to be improving, not jumping to many conclusions there, but I've liked what I've seen out of this Saints defense the last 2 weeks. Give me the Saints to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Green Bay Packers at home versus the Indianapolis Colts. I've officially given up on the Indianapolis Colts, taking the Green Bay Packers in that game. San Diego Chargers, San Diego Superchargers, taking on the Tennessee Titans. Look, Titans are playing some damn good football. Chargers have found ways to lose this season. This seems like a spot where if Tennessee was serious, they'd go take this game. But I'm not taking the Tennessee Titans serious. They're going to compete, and they're going to have a chance at the end of this ballgame to win, but they won't. Give me the San Diego Chargers. Denver Broncos at the Oakland Raiders. This is going to be one fantastic ballgame. AFC West family business at its finest. When the Raiders are good, the AFC West is fun. Raiders are good, and this is a battle of two 6-2 football teams for the right to call themselves the leader in the clubhouse in the AFC West. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's AFC West family business. Raiders had 23 or 24 penalties, whatever it was. It set an NFL record. I know that much. They can't do that again, and the defense has to play like they've played the last 2 weeks in order for them to have a chance. If they don't, they're going to lose this game. I'd love to pick the Oakland Raiders here and say, hey, it's the changing of the guard. But it's not. It's the Denver Broncos. It's that defense. It's them forcing the issue. It's the Raiders not winning this game. Give me the Denver Broncos to go on the road and beat the Oakland Raiders. Finally, Monday Night Football, Seattle Seahawks at home hosting the Buffalo Bills. I don't really know what to expect out of Seattle. I don't know if Russell Wilson's going to be any better this week than he was last week or the week before that. I do know this, they're at home, and they play a lot better when they're at home. I know the Buffalo Bills struggle to score points when Shady McCoy is not right. Is Shady McCoy right? I don't know. Probably going to play because he almost played last week, but I don't like to jump to conclusions. I know this much. Tyrod Taylor doesn't throw for a ton of yards even when this offense is right. Now they're playing against one of the better defenses in the league, on the road, in one of the most hostile environments in all of the National Football League. You put that together, it sounds like a Bills loss. Give me the Seattle Seahawks. So there are my picks. I'll tell you this much. The caveat here, and I don't like this, and I tell you this all the time, I've picked too many road teams this week. I've got 6, 7 that I'm staring at right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 road teams that I picked this week. That is way too many. But what do you want me to do? Those are the teams I think are going to win those games. It's probably going to come back to bite me. I'm probably going to lose a vast majority of those games, and those are probably where my losses are going to come this week. But that being said, those are my picks. Where are yours? Hopefully, you do better than I did last week, because I know I am going to do better than I did last week. Looking for your picks. Those are mine. I'll see you next week.
Broncos won the Super Bowl when Peyton Manning retired. 49ers won 5 games and Tom Sula got fired. RG's in Cleveland and my Rams hit the West Coast. Be sleepless in Seattle cause that 12-man ain't beast mode. Oh yeah, I knew it was something I forgot to mention. Yeah, old Tom Brady about to get that suspension. Yeah, I know the Pats fans probably think that's whack. Yeah, but at the end of the day, your balls was flat. It's that time again. It's that time again to go hard in the offseason, cause we trying to win. We gon' go so hard, we don't take no days off. Hopefully one day it's all gonna pay off. Shout out your defense, they tissue, cause they soft. Catch them while they sleeping, we gon' sneak in the playoffs. I'm ready for some football, I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Louie? Yeah.